Chapter 437. At this moment, the old man was also confused. He rubbed his head and glanced at Qin Yuan doubtfully. Wasn't this man the one who often appeared by Yun Zhao's side? He seemed to be Yun Zhao's subordinate. Especially during this period of time, he had taken great care of the Yun family. He was also very humble and often helped the Yun family. But from what Lu Yin said, Qin Yuan was also a heavenly spirit realm expert? The old man was shocked. If Qin Yuan was a heavenly spirit realm expert, then how powerful was Yun Zhao? All of you leave this place first. Qin Yuan's expression became more and more serious. Leave this place and find my master and Miss Yun. Only they can protect you. But, old Master Yun was stunned. He couldn't bring himself to abandon Qin Yuan and escape on his own. I promised Miss Yun that I would protect the Yun family, so I would rather die here than let anyone touch you. However, I can't hold them off for too long. Hurry up and leave, the further the better. Don't come back. His gray clothes seemed extremely firm in the breeze. The man's eyes were filled with the determination to face death as he coldly looked at the people of the medical city in front of him. No way. Old Man Yun's domineering aura was fully displayed as he said coldly, "There are no deserters on the battlefield." This is not a battlefield. Qin Yuan was a little anxious. To me, any battle is a battlefield. On the battlefield, there is no reason for the general to abandon his troops and flee. If this general really runs away, then my dignity will be completely lost. My reputation will be ruined. As a general, Old Man Yun accepted the principle that he would rather die in battle than admit defeat to the enemy. From his point of view, if he abandoned Qin Yuan and ran away, what was the difference between him and a deserter? As long as he was alive, he would never allow anyone to step into the Yun family. Father. Yun Xingya's eyes contained a cold light, but her lips curled into a bitter smile. I'm sorry, I've implicated you. The man's apologetic voice caused Old Man Yun's heart to tremble. He turned his head to look at that handsome face, raised his hand, and gently patted him on the shoulder. There are no cowards in my Yun family. Feng'er's parents died on the battlefield, and he was fearless in the face of danger. Feng'er also inherited her parents' personality and would rather die than submit. So, I don't think you did anything wrong. Do you want my son to be afraid of death and submit to the threat of the enemy? The old man paused for a moment before continuing, No. If you had admitted defeat on the arena back then because of the opponent's identity, and if you had allowed them to bully you without retaliating, then you wouldn't be my son. My son is not a coward. Every member of the Yun family was a hero. Never give in, never retreat. He would never submit to his enemy for the sake of survival. Xingya, your father's good son. I'm already very satisfied to have you and Yun Yang as my sons, as well as Feng'er as my granddaughter. I have no more regrets. Besides, I believe that with your niece's ability, she'll avenge us one day. What was there to fear about death? To Yun Luo, death wasn't scary. What was scary was a heart that became weak in the face of death. Haha. Yun Luo burst into laughter and turned to look at Lu Yin. A mocking smile hung on his aged face. Lu Yin, if you want to kill me, then kill me. You want me to hand over my son in order to live? Let me tell you, it's impossible even in my next life. How can I, Yun Luo, be a coward who is afraid of death? As a man, I can never abandon my family. Chapter 438. Qin Yuan looked at Yun Luo with a complicated expression. Towards this old general who had fought on the battlefield for many years, there was nothing but admiration in his heart. With such a heroic, courageous, and resourceful old man, it was no wonder that he was able to stay on the battlefield for so many years. It was a pity that the previous emperor of Long Yuan country had eyes but failed to see. Otherwise, he wouldn't have ended up in such a miserable state, father. Yun Xingya smiled faintly. His smile was elegant and moving, as if a hand was gently stirring up the other party's heart. I understand. No matter what, I will not regret what I did back then. Just as his father had said, there were no cowards in the Yun family. Even if he had to live a dark life for 10 years because of what happened back then, he would not regret it. Lu Yin coldly snorted, a mocking smile appearing on his face. Xianxia, even now, you are still so stubborn. There are some things that you can't shake. The strength of our medical city is too strong, to the point of being unimaginable. As for our family's young master, he is even more noble and beautiful. If he wants to compete with you, you should let him beat you up. You shouldn't fight back. At this point, he paused for a moment before continuing. Unfortunately, after more than 10 years, you still haven't understood this principle. On the continent, it's useless to have hard bones. You have to have hard fists to stand firm. Boom. Just as Lu Yin finished speaking, his body suddenly moved and he quickly rushed towards Xianxia. Be careful. Qin Yuan's expression changed drastically. He hurriedly appeared in front of Xianxia and activated a shield. However, he had only broken through to the heavenly spirit realm not long ago, so how could he compare to Lu Qin? With a boom, a punch landed on the shield. The invisible shield immediately shattered, turning into specks of light that scattered into the air. Puchi. At the same time, Qin Yuan's body was also sent flying, heavily smashing into the wall. Blood continuously flowed out of his mouth. Xianxia, go to hell. Lu Yin's speed was too fast, so fast that other than Qin Yuan, no one else could react in time. Xianxia. He wanted to rush in front of Xianxia, but the other party's attack had already landed. He had no time to block this attack for his beloved son. He could only watch in despair as the old man's fist landed on Xianxia. In the face of this sudden attack, Xianxia's expression did not change at all. Under this powerful pressure, even his expression did not change in the slightest. He stood firm in the old man's pressure, his posture straight. Father is right, there are no cowards among the sons of the Yun family. Even if he had to die, he would die standing. He would never yield to the enemy. Puchi. Suddenly, a beautiful figure floated over from somewhere and steadily landed in front of Xianxia. The girl opened her mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood. Her beautiful face instantly turned pale, and her beautiful hair slowly fell down, fluttering in front of Xianxia. Xianxia's pupils suddenly constricted as she stared blankly at the young girl in front of her. Her eyes were filled with astonishment. Only when the young girl's body tilted to the ground did he react. He quickly took 2 steps forward and caught her soft and delicate body. Why did you? You saved me? Ever since Elder Ning left a while ago, this young girl had stayed in the Yun family. She said that she was waiting for Yun Luofeng to return, but she had always been wandering in front of him. However, Xianxia did not have much feelings for this young girl who was 10 years younger than her. She only treated her like a little sister. He did not expect that she would rush out at this moment and block Lu Yin's attack for him. Chapter 439. Ning Xian slightly closed her eyes. Her 2 fan-like eyelashes gently trembled. Her breathing was very weak, so weak that it seemed like it could disappear at any moment. Because I admire you very much. After a while, the young girl opened her eyes. Her eyes, which seemed to be able to speak, quietly stared at the man in front of her. A weak smile appeared on her beautiful face. Xianxia's heart trembled. Her arms involuntarily hugged the young girl's body tightly. Big brother Yun, I admire you not because of your talent. In this life, I have seen many geniuses, and there are many in the Ning family. However, after hearing about your deeds, I was deeply fascinated by you. The young girl's voice was weak, but her tone was filled with unquestionable determination. I admire your strength of character, and I am infatuated with your courage to not fear power, to not lower your head even in death. You clearly know the identity of the other party, but you are still unwilling to put down your dignity and pride on the stage. So, the young girl paused for a moment before continuing. For you, I am willing. The young girl's words made Xianxia's heart tremble even more. He tightened his grip on her, and his cold eyes were filled with determination. Don't worry, little Fenger will be back very soon. When she comes back, you will be fine. Ning Xian smiled bitterly and shook her head. Brother Yun, I'm afraid I won't be able to wait until then. After Fenger returns, you will bid farewell to her on my behalf. In this life, I don't have many friends, and she is the only one. In a power like the Ning family, even though there were many noble daughters who wanted to befriend her, those people were only doing so for the sake of the Ning family. Only Yun Luo Feng, in the eyes of that young girl, did not have nobility or lowliness, only whether he was worthy of her friendship or not. Therefore, only in front of Yun Luo Feng would she open her heart without reservation. Hearing the young girl's increasingly weak voice, Yun Xianxia's heart surged with monstrous anger. Her clear eyes coldly looked at the people of the medical city. If anything happens to Ning Exen, one day, I will destroy your entire medical city. His voice was filled with earth-shattering rage. His crescent robe fluttered in the breeze. Elder Lu Yin, what should we do? That last Ning Exen is seriously injured. If word gets back to the Ning family, old man Ning will go crazy. Behind him, a white-robed man came out and said worriedly. They had only come to deal with the general's mansion. Who would have thought that Ning Exen would also be in the Yun family? She even risked her life for Yun Qingya. Knowing Elder Ning's protective nature, if he were to find out that Ning Exen had been accidentally injured in the medical city, he would definitely fly into a rage. Especially since it seemed like Ning Exen was not going to make it. Quick! Lord Yun was the first to react. He hurriedly said, Qingya, quickly take her to the medical pavilion. There are quite a few doctors there, so they might have a way to control her injuries. As long as we wait for Feng to return, there will be no problems. Yun Qingya suddenly came back to his senses. Without saying a word, he quickly carried Ning Exen and rushed towards the other side of the street. Perhaps he was too anxious, but his speed was as fast as the wind. Elder Lu Yin, the white-robed man, looked in the direction that Yun Qingya had left in. He opened his mouth, wanting to say something, but was interrupted by Lu Yin's voice. Let's return to the medicine city and discuss with the city lord how to deal with the Ning family's old man's anger. Chapter 440. But this Yun Qingya. The white-robed man frowned. Were they going to return empty-handed this time? It's useless for him to go to the medical pavilion. Only I know the power I used just now. Even the pavilion master of the medical pavilion might not be able to save her, Lu Yin said coldly. Now, let's rush back to the medical city and discuss this with the city lord. As for the Yun family, we can only let them live for a few more days. The little girl of the Ning family was already heavily injured, but this was unintentionally caused by him. He hoped that the Ning family would be more reasonable and reconcile with the medical city. However, if he stopped Yun Qingya from bringing Ning Exen to the medical pavilion, then the nature of the matter would be different. At that time, even if he explained that he had no intention of hurting her, no one in the Ning family would listen to him. If I knew that the little girl of the Ning family was here and protected Yun Qingya with my life, I wouldn't have come to the Yun family at this time. Lu Yin was very vexed in his heart. He gritted his teeth and said, let's retreat. Ning family. When they heard that Ning Exen had been injured outside, the entire Ning family was in an uproar. Everyone gathered together with ugly expressions on their faces. The people of the medical city are so bold. They actually dared to injure our little girl Ning Exen. Patriarch, we can't let this matter rest like this. We have to go to the medical city and settle the score with them. The person who said this was the great elder of the Ning family. His face was ashen as he spoke angrily. Patriarch, why did the people of the medical city injure Ning Exen? There must be an inside story behind this. I heard that the old master had left Ning Exen alone in Longyuan country, and no one knows where he went. This time, Ning Exen was injured because she was protecting the son of a general. I really don't know what the old master was thinking, to actually allow Ning Exen to interact with those ordinary people. No, we have to bring Ning Exen back. Ning Exen is seriously injured now. If we don't hurry up and treat her, she might not be able to be saved. The crowd began to discuss amongst themselves. Their words were filled with anger towards the medical city and disdain towards the Yun family. Enough. The middle-aged man, who was sitting at the head of the table, slammed his palm down. His handsome face was cold and detached. Old master must have his reasons for leaving Exen heir in Longyuan nation. Furthermore, the granddaughter of the Longyuan country's general is the savior of the old master. Furthermore, she has a good relationship with Exen heir. If the two of you were to talk about the general's mansion like this and the old master heard about it, he would definitely be furious. I don't believe that a young lady from the general's mansion would be able to cure the old master's illness. Perhaps the old master just doesn't want us to worry about him and made up an excuse. An elderly man frowned. Master, we really can't stop worrying about Ning Exin. Please allow me to bring some men to bring Ning Exin back to the Ning family for treatment. With the strength of my Ning clan, recruiting doctors from all over the world is not a problem. The middle-aged man closed his eyes in agony. When he found out that his daughter was injured, no one was more worried than he was. He wished he could fly to Long Yuan country immediately. However, the old master was not at home and he needed someone to take charge of the situation. All right, the middle-aged man opened his eyes. I'll allow you to bring some men to bring Exin heir back to the Ning family immediately. However, you need to be polite to the general's mansion. Do not be too rude. Otherwise, if the old master were to get angry, no one would be able to stop him. Yes, master. The elderly man cupped his fists, his voice filled with respect, but his face showed a hint of disapproval. Chapter 441. In the quiet back hall of the medical pavilion, Xianxia wiped the sweat off her forehead and slowly stood up from the bedside. Her face was filled with fatigue as she turned to look at the nervous Xianxia behind her. How is it? Xianxia's heart tightened. His tightly clenched fists were covered in sweat. His handsome face was filled with anxiety. Xianxia shook her head, her face filled with helplessness. Seeing her expression, Xianxia felt as if a bolt of lightning had struck his head, causing him to uncontrollably take a few steps back. I've tried my best, but her injuries are too severe. Lu Yin's palm shattered her internal organs. I've used all my strength to maintain her life for 10 days. If Yun Luofeng still hasn't returned in 10 days, I'm afraid she really won't be able to be saved. 10 days, Xianxia's gaze gradually turned to the young girl on the bed. At this moment, the young girl's face was as pale as paper, as if it would shatter with a single touch. Her lips were devoid of blood, and her tightly furrowed brows revealed the pain she was enduring. This is all my fault. If it wasn't for me, she wouldn't have suffered such a heavy injury. Xianxia's heart ached. He had never thought that at that time, Ning Exin would disregard her life to protect him. This kind of friendship was something that he would never be able to repay even if he used up his entire life. When will Yun Luofeng return? Xianxia frowned slightly, a hint of worry appearing on her seductive face. When Elder Ning left Long Yuan, he had asked the medical pavilion to take care of Ning Exin. Who knew that such a thing would happen? Just as the two old men left, the people from the medical city arrived. Xianxia shook his head with a bitter smile. His fingers gently caressed the girl's tender skin on the bed. Xiao Fenger has already been gone for a few months. No one knows when she will return. Maybe Xiao Exin won't be able to wait for her to return. Xianxia opened her mouth, wanting to say something, but at this moment, a servant in the medical pavilion hurriedly lifted the curtain and walked in. He said respectfully, Miss Xianxia, the people from the Ning family are here. Ning family? Hearing this, Xianxia frowned slightly. Who is the person from the Ning family? Miss Xianxia, that old man claims to be the fourth elder of the Ning family. He's here to bring Miss Ning Exin home. The servant's words caused Xianxia's heart to tremble. He hurriedly held Ning Exin's hand, his cold eyes filled with determination. I can't let Xiao Exin go. I want to wait for Xiao Fenger to come back. If Ning Exin returned to the Ning family, only death awaited her. If she waited here for Yun Luofeng, perhaps she would have a chance. He would not allow the Ning family to take Ning Exin away. Humph, I'd like to see what kind of strength you have to keep Ning Exin here. Suddenly, a cold snort came from outside the curtain. When Xianxia turned to look, she saw an old man in a long robe leading a group of people into the back hall. The old man's aura was imposing, and his indifferent eyes revealed a trace of imperceptible arrogance. His navy blue robe made his aged body seem extremely long, and he was like a sharp sword that could kill without leaving a trace. In particular, there was a faint trace of hostility in his gaze as he looked at Xianxia. You can't take Ning Exin away. Seeing the person who had arrived, Xianxia's gaze gradually darkened. He clenched his fists tighter and tighter, and his cold voice was filled with determination. Heh. The old man sneered. Then I want to see if you can stop me. Someone, take the young miss away. Chapter 442. Xianxia's expression changed as she clenched her fists tightly. She quickly stepped forward, wanting to stop those people, but at this moment, Fangya stretched out a hand and stopped him. Elder Ning. Fangya frowned slightly, her seductive face filled with seriousness. Her fox-like eyes turned towards the Ning family and asked, "If you insist on taking Ning Xan away now, she might die. Is this the result that your Ning family wants?" The fourth elder snorted coldly, his eyes filled with disdain. Just because your medical pavilion can't cure the symptoms doesn't mean that other doctors are helpless. Only when Ning Xen returns to the Ning family will she receive the best treatment. Fangya's eyes darkened. She took a deep breath and said, "Elder Ning, you're not a doctor and you don't know much about medicine. I've just examined Ning Xian's condition and I can tell you that there are only two people in this world who can save her. One is the godly Dr. Xianxia, and the other is the Yun family's Yun Luofeng. Godly Dr. Xianxia has always been elusive, and it is extremely difficult to find him. Therefore, we can only let Ning Xian stay here. When Yun Luofeng returns home, she will be safe." Even at this time, Fangya still wanted to persuade the Ning family to keep Ning Xin. However, after hearing her words, the fourth elder scoffed and curled his lips in ridicule. Yun Luofeng? I've never heard of her name before. How dare a granddaughter of a general be compared to the godly Dr. Xianxia? Elder Ning, Yun Luofeng cured Elder Ning's illness. Do you think she has the qualifications to be compared to the godly Dr. Xianxia? Fangya's brows furrowed tighter and tighter, a hint of impatience gradually appearing on her face. The people of the Ning family were really stubborn. If Elder Rong was here, they wouldn't dare to come to the medical pavilion to snatch people away. Although Elder Rong's status was not as respected as Elder Ning's on the continent, they had known each other since they were young. How could their relationship for so many years change with the change in status? Therefore, the people of the Ning family were very respectful towards Elder Rong. No one dared to act rashly in front of him. Ha! Fangya's words caused fourth elder to burst into laughter. His laughter was filled with sarcasm. "Fangya, do you really think that I don't know that Elder Ning's illness is not under control?" He must have found an excuse to reassure the Ning family. How could a general's granddaughter have the ability to cure him when so many famous doctors on the continent were helpless? Do you think I'm stupid? Fangya was so angry that her delicate body trembled and her chest heaved up and down. Let me tell you, it's not just Elder Ning. Our medical pavilion's pavilion master was also cured by Yun family's fallen maple. Furthermore, you all know that Yun Qingya's strength was crippled before. The reason he was able to stand here safe and sound was all thanks to Yun Luofeng. You actually said that her medical skills are not good enough? The fourth elder coldly snorted. How would I know if Yun Qingya's strength has been crippled? Maybe he was just pretending to be seriously injured and had been hiding his strength for so many years. As for the pavilion master of the medical pavilion, his illness had indeed recovered, but you said that it was Yun Luofeng who had cured him, so it was her credit? Who knows if you're making it up or not? In any case, he did not believe that Yun Luofeng's medical skills could be compared to godly Dr. Xianxia's. It should be said that the two were not worthy of comparison. How could a 15-year-old girl, born in a place like Longyuan, possess such brilliant medical skills? Chapter 443. Did Fangya really think he was stupid? Would he believe her lies? Regardless of whether you believe me or not, I will say the same thing. In this world, other than godly Dr. Xianxia, only Yun Luofeng can save Ning Xing. If you forcefully bring her back to the Ning family, can you bear the responsibility if something happens to her? At this moment, Fangya's expression was extremely ugly, and her beautiful eyes were filled with a cold light. If she stays here, she will die. The fourth elder waved his hand. Don't worry about these people. Take Ning Xan away immediately. Boom. Just as those people were walking towards the bed, Yun Qingya straightened his body and blocked the bed behind him. His aura surged and his handsome face was suffused with a cold light. None of you are allowed to take her away. His eyes were filled with determination. With a choice that was unafraid of death, he forcefully blocked these people. Beat him up. The fourth elder's gaze darkened as he coldly berated. In an instant, the people from the Ning family rushed towards Xianxia, the spiritual energy in their hands attacking the cold and handsome man in front of them. Ever since his injuries had been healed, Xianxia's strength had increased by leaps and bounds, and he had even broken through to become a high-level high spiritualist. However, even so, it was difficult for him to fight against four hands with just two fists. Just as he was distracted, his chest was forcefully punched. Pucci. Xianxia's footsteps suddenly retreated. Seeing that he was about to collide with the bed behind him, he hurriedly stopped in his tracks. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and coldly looked at the Ning family members. I won't let you take her away. Ning Xian had been seriously injured in order to protect him. No matter what, he would protect her well and not let anyone take her away from him. You're courting death. The fourth elder coldly snorted. Then, his body moved and he suddenly charged towards Xianxia. The aura on his body was extremely sharp, like a sword shooting out. Stop! Fang Ye's expression changed drastically. She looked at the fourth elder's actions in fear and hurriedly wanted to go forward to help. However, before she could reach Xianxia's side, she was affected by the old man's aura. It was as if a gust of wind had blown past, fiercely blowing her away. Bang! Her soft body fell to the ground. She raised her head and stared angrily at the fourth elder of the Ning family. Hurry up and stop. If anything happens to Xianxia, your Ning family will be destroyed one day. Fang Ye was clearer than anyone else about Yun Luofeng's vengeful personality. Now that her second uncle had been injured by the Ning family, based on her personality, she would never let the Ning family off so easily even if she was on good terms with old man Ning. However, the girl's growth was too terrifying. In just half a year, she had already reached such a level. Who could stop her in the future? Offending her was no different from offending the devil. Bang! With a punch, Xianxia's body was thrown out with a bang. She smashed through the wall and fell into the ruins. His fingers twitched as he tried to get up from the floor. But he felt powerless. He could only watch helplessly as the Ning family carried Ning Xian from the bed. Let her go. Xianxia's voice became very hoarse. His fingers tightly pinched the sand in front of him. Just as he opened his mouth, he spat out a mouthful of blood. His handsome face was so pale that it was almost transparent. At this moment, his eyes were filled with anger and despair, and he had never been as powerless as he was today. It was as if his body had been hollowed out. Chapter 444. Fourth Elder, what about that man? The Ning family guard carried Ning Xian by the waist and walked in front of the fourth elder as he asked. The fourth elder paused and said coldly, Don't worry about him. They won't be able to cause any trouble. Let's hurry back to the Ning family. After saying that, he quickly walked out of the back hall of the medical pavilion without looking back. After the Ning family left, Fang Ye propped herself up and staggered towards Xianxia, who was lying in the ruins. She asked worriedly, Young Master Yun, how are you? Xianxia did not say anything. His fingers tightly gripped the sand on the ground, his eyes filled with deep pain. Your injuries are very serious. I'll treat you. Fang Ye sighed softly. She knew that with her and Xianxia's strength, they would not be able to stop these people from the Ning family. Now, they could only let them take Ning Xian away. Xianxia's expression was somewhat sluggish as he allowed Fang Ye to help him up and walk towards the bed. At this moment, he looked like a person who had lost his soul. His eyes were unfocused. Someone come. Fang Ye's gaze darkened as she ordered, Go to the Yun family and invite the Yun family's old man over. Tell him, something has happened to Xianxia. Standing outside the Yun family's gate, Yun Luofeng stopped in her tracks. She looked at the panicked servants in the Yun family's courtyard and couldn't help but frown. Could it be that something had happened to the Yun family while she was away? Just as Yun Luofeng was about to step through the door, he bumped into a familiar figure. That person had clearly noticed Yun Luofeng at the door as well, and his eyes were filled with surprise. Mistress, you're back? Where's my master? Qin Yuan's face was filled with excitement. However, when he saw that there was only a little girl following beside Yun Luofeng and that cold figure was nowhere to be seen, he couldn't help but be stunned. The matter with the Xiao family has been resolved. He still has some other things to do there. Oh right, what happened to the Yun family? Why are all of you so flustered? Yun Luofeng frowned and asked. Hearing Yun Luofeng's question, the excited smile on Qin Yuan's face gradually disappeared. He carefully glanced at the young girl in front of him and said, Mistress, young Master Xianxia is injured and is currently being treated in the medical pavilion. The young girl's face suddenly darkened, her pitch-black pupils seemingly boundless. Qin Yuan immediately became nervous. He explained anxiously, Mistress, this matter is my fault. I did not protect young Master Xianxia properly, causing him to be injured. No matter how Mistress punishes me, I, Qin Yuan, will accept it. At this point, Qin Yuan's eyes were filled with guilt. Before Yun Luofeng left Long Yuan country, he had promised her that he would take good care of the Yun family. However, Ning Xian was injured first, and then, due to his negligence, even Yun Xianxia was seriously injured. This time, even if he died 10,000 times, he would not be able to absolve himself of the blame. Yun Luofeng didn't reply to Qin Yuan. She didn't even look at him. She silently turned around and walked in the direction of the medical pavilion. Seeing this, Qin Yuan didn't dare to say anything else. He followed the young woman anxiously, and his heart was tightly in his throat the entire way. In the back hall of the medical pavilion, old Master Yun sat in front of the bed. He looked at the man lying on the bed with his eyes wide open and couldn't help but let out a soft sigh. Miss Fangya, I've really troubled you this time. I didn't expect so many things to happen. If I had known, I wouldn't have let Xianxia come to the medical pavilion alone. Chapter 445. Fangya forced a smile. There was a trace of worry between her eyebrows, but even more so, there was a sense of guilt that could not be erased. Patriarch Yun, please don't say that. If it wasn't for Yun Luofeng, our pavilion master's illness wouldn't have been cured. But now your Yun family needs help, and I can't help you at all. But don't worry, I've already sent a pigeon to inform Elder Rong of this matter and have him help me find Elder Ning's whereabouts. 10 days. Ning Xian only had 10 days. She had to find Elder Ning and Yun Luofeng within these 10 days. Otherwise, Ning Xian's life would be in danger. Miss Fangya, no matter what, I still have to thank you for what you've done for the Yun family. If you hadn't saved him in time, perhaps Xianxia. At this point, old Master Sheng's words stopped abruptly. However, the meaning he wanted to express was already very obvious. He didn't want to experience the pain of a white-haired person sending off a black-haired person a second time. Miss Fangya, Patriarch Yun, the eldest daughter of the Yun family is here. Suddenly, an excited voice rang out from the front hall. Upon hearing this voice, Yun Luo stood up abruptly with a whoosh as a look of pleasant surprise appeared in his murky eyes. Fenger is back? This was great. As long as she came back, both Yun Xianxia and Ning Xian would be safe and sound. Just as the old man finished speaking, the curtain was lifted by a hand. Immediately, a young girl dressed in white walked in from the front hall and appeared in the old man's eyes. Beside the young lady was a cute little girl. This little girl was sucking on her finger and looking around curiously with her big eyes. Fenger. The old man's throat was a little dry, and tears welled up in his eyes. Yun Luofeng's return had suddenly allowed him to find his backbone. His tightly clenched heart had also slowly calmed down. Even the old man didn't know when Yun Luofeng had become the backbone of the Yun family. It was as if as long as she was here, any difficulty could be easily solved. In this world, there was nothing she couldn't do. We'll talk about other things later. Let me take a look at second uncle's injuries first. With that said, the young girl walked towards the big bed. Her fingers gently touched Yun Xianxia's body. After checking the injuries on his body, her heart gradually returned to her stomach. Second uncle has indeed suffered a very serious injury. Fortunately, his life is not in danger. Fangya, I have a pharmacy here. Go and get some medicine for second uncle to use. After Yun Luofeng finished speaking, he took out a green medicinal herb from somewhere. Remember, add this spiritual herb. All right. Fangya took the spiritual herbs that Yun Luofeng handed over and immediately ordered the servants to prepare a pen and paper. Once Yun Luofeng had written down all the herbs he needed, she left the back hall. The entire back hall quietened down because of this. The girl turned to look at the old man and asked in a deep voice, "Tell me, what happened?" The old man laughed bitterly. The people of the medical city did not keep their promise. They gave up on the 3-year agreement and launched an attack on the Yun family. In order to protect your second uncle, Ning Exan suffered a palm strike from Lu Yin and was severely injured. She was on the verge of death. In order to save Ning Exan's life, your second uncle brought him to the medical pavilion, but who would have thought? Not only did the Ning family rush over, they even injured your second uncle. Chapter 446. Yun Luofeng's eyes darkened bit by bit, his black eyes containing a strong storm. Even the aura on her body had cooled down following the old man's words. Does Elder Ning know about this? She muttered to herself for a while before saying this. The old man shook his head. Elder Ning is not in the Ning family. Fangya has already informed Elder Rong of this matter and asked Elder Rong to invite Elder Ning to uphold justice. Tell Fangya to bring a message to Elder Ning. No matter who the person who injured my second uncle is, I will seek justice for him. The old man opened his mouth, and a bitter smile appeared on his aged face. What about that girl Ning Exan's injuries? As if he had heard Ning Exan's name, Yun Qingya's face finally showed an expression. However, he still did not speak and lay quietly on the bed. Yun Luofeng looked at Yun Qingya. Ning Exan has a good personality, I like her a lot. Moreover, she was injured for second uncle this time, so no matter what, I will not ignore her. After second uncle recovers, I will go to the Ning family to find Ning Exan, and I will bring her back. Really? Old man Yun's eyes lit up. The Ning family will let Ning Exan go? To be honest, the old man liked that beautiful and dignified little girl, Ning Exan, from the bottom of his heart. Moreover, if she hadn't rushed out to block that attack for Yun Qingya back then, the one who was injured might have been Yun Qingya. Because of this, old Master Sheng's fondness for her increased a little. The corners of Yun Luofeng's lips curled up slightly. Don't you think it would be good to have a daughter-in-law like Ning Exan? Second uncle has also reached the age of marrying a wife. I think the two of them are quite suitable. Grandfather, don't worry. No matter what, I will bring your daughter-in-law back. Before Yun Qingya saw the sun again, Yun Luofeng already knew that Ning Exan worshipped and respected Yun Qingya in her heart. Now that she had suffered such a heavy injury for her second uncle, her feelings were very obvious. As for second uncle, perhaps he had only treated Ning Exan as a little sister at the beginning, but now, because of Ning Exan's departure, he had become so distracted. From this, it could be seen that second uncle did not have no feelings for her. Even if second uncle had become like this because he was worried about Ning Exan's injuries, feelings could be slowly nurtured. The most important thing right now was to bring Ning Exan back from the Ning family. Miss Yun. Fangya's charming voice sounded from outside the curtain. She then walked in with a bowl of medicinal soup and carefully placed it on the table. I've already brewed the medicinal soup you wanted. Also, I have one more thing to tell you. Fangya lifted her head and looked at Yun Luofeng. The person who came to the Ning family this time is the fourth elder of the Ning family. He has a son, and because he's old, he's been spoiled rotten by him. Furthermore, his son's talent is not bad. As a result, among the younger generation of the Ning family, besides Ning Exan, his son has the highest status. Yun Luofeng raised his eyebrows. And then? Fangya sighed helplessly. His son has always liked Ning Exan. In his heart, Ning Exan has already become his daughter-in-law. The fourth elder of the Ning family also treats Ning Exan like his daughter-in-law. It's a pity that Ning Exan doesn't like his son. That's why he's so hostile towards Yun Qingya. If it was another elder who came to Long Yuan, it wouldn't be the same. Yun Luofeng's face was expressionless, but the storm in his black eyes was getting stronger and stronger, as if it would explode at any moment. Chapter 447. Fangya, I'll leave my second uncle to you for now. She took a deep breath and suppressed the rage in her heart. She raised her eyes and stared at the seductive woman in front of her. Fangya was stunned when she heard the girl's words. She frowned and said, "You plan to go to the Ning family like this? You're not going to wait for Elder Ning to return?" "No need." Yun Luofeng shook his head. "Ning Xian probably won't be able to escape for long. I'll go to the Ning family to treat her injuries first, then I'll settle the score with the fourth elder of the Ning family." She had never imagined that so many things would happen during the time she was away. She would not let off anyone who hurt her family. "All right." Fangya thought for a moment and nodded. "Leave Yun Qingya to me. I'll take good care of him. Also, you probably don't know where the Ning family is. I'll send someone to send you there." Indeed, as Yun Luofeng had said, Ning Xian wouldn't be able to hold on for long, and Elder Ning was still somewhere unknown. Therefore, she could not stop Yun Luofeng's choice. She could only hope that Elder Rong could quickly find out Elder Ning's whereabouts so that this girl wouldn't suffer a loss in the Ning family. Perhaps sensing Fang Ya's worry, Yun Luofeng's black eyes gradually calmed down. "Don't worry, Yun Luofeng, will eat anything, but I won't lose out." After saying this, she turned to look at the old man with sincerity in her eyes. "Grandfather, wait for me here. I'll bring your daughter-in-law back." The old man opened his mouth, his eyes filled with worry. "Should I go with you?" How could he be at ease letting his granddaughter enter the tiger's den alone? The Yun family needs someone to take charge. Yun Luofeng looked at the old man's worried expression solemnly. "So, you must stay here." Hearing this, the old man laughed bitterly and sighed helplessly. "All right, then come back early. I'll wait for you to bring my future daughter-in-law back." Yun Luofeng looked at Yun Qingya, who was lying on the bed, and lowered his eyes to hide the raging anger in them. "Xiaobai, let's go." "Oh." Lin Ruobai blinked her eyes cutely. "Master, do you want to ask my father for help?" Yun Luofeng shook his head. "It's too far. There's no time. Ning Xian's injuries couldn't be delayed any longer. If she returned to Spirit Realm and asked the Spirit God for help, Ning Xian would probably die from her injuries before she returned." Wait. Just as Yun Luofeng turned to leave, an anxious voice came from behind him. She saw that the man who had been lying on the bed with lifeless eyes had somehow forced himself to stand up. His hands were tightly pressed against the edge of the bed as a beautiful smile bloomed on his handsome, pale face. The man's smile was like a lotus, so beautiful that it could move one's soul. "I'll go with you." Yun Luofeng was startled. He frowned slightly. "Your injuries? I'm fine." Yun Qingya shook her head slightly and smiled weakly. "Little Fengya, Xiao Xen was injured because of me, and you are planning to go to the Ning family because of me. How can I retreat at a time like this? I wasn't able to protect her before. Now, I will personally bring her to the Yun family." He was a man, and as a man, he had to have a strong spirit. Instead of hiding behind his niece. Looking at Yun Qingya's determined expression, Yun Luofeng pondered for a moment, then nodded and said, "Drink the medicine and immediately set off with me to the Ning family." Chapter 448. In the great hall of the Ning family home, the middle-aged man sat on the highest seat. His brows were furrowed in worry as he asked in a low voice, "Has the master not returned yet?" Reporting to the master. The great elder walked out and clenched his fists as he replied respectfully, "The Ning family is already searching for the old master's whereabouts. However, we don't know where the old master has gone, so we haven't been able to find him yet." Sigh. The middle-aged man sighed and the worry between his brows deepened. "I'm afraid that Exa won't be able to hold on for much longer, but the master has yet to return. Perhaps they won't even be able to see him one last time." He rubbed his forehead with his fingers and his handsome face was filled with agony. These past few days, he had searched for famous doctors, but they all said that Ning Xian's injuries were too severe and there was nothing they could do to save her. Unless they could find the godly doctor, Tanya, only then would they be able to come back from the dead and save Ning Xian's life. However, when the master had been gravely ill, they had searched for Tianya for a few years but had not been able to find him. Now, in just a few short days, where could they go to find him? Forget it, forget it. The middle-aged man waved his hand and exhaled deeply. "Great elder, spread the news that Ning Xian is in a critical condition. If Master Darren hears about it, he will naturally return. Ning Xian only has a few more days to live. Let's not disturb her too much and let her leave in peace." As he spoke, he stood up and walked out of the great hall. In just a few days, the man who was once all-powerful in the Ning family gradually hunched his back. It was as if he had aged several decades in an instant. His hair, which was originally as black as ink, had turned half of it white without anyone noticing. "Master!" Just as the middle-aged man was about to step over the threshold, a servant hurried in and said respectfully, "There's a man and a woman outside the door who wish to see you." The middle-aged man paused in his steps and frowned. "Who do you think they are?" "Master, the two of them claim to be from Long Yuan country. The lady's name is Yun Luofeng and the other man is Yun Xianxia." "What?" Without waiting for the middle-aged man to respond, the fourth elder rose to his feet in the great hall. His gloomy eyes burned with rage. The people from the Yun family actually dare to come. Especially that Yun Xianxia. If he hadn't provoked the people from the medical city, Ning Xian wouldn't have been injured. He wouldn't only have a few days to live. But I didn't expect him to have the guts to come to our door even though our Ning family didn't settle the score with him. "Patriarch, let me go teach this kid a lesson right now." What surprised the fourth elder even more was that although he didn't kill Yun Xianxia with his palm, he still used an unknown amount of strength. How could he still come to the Ning clan? Could it be that his injuries had been healed? Impossible. Only he knew the strength he used. It was impossible for him to recover so quickly. "Fourth elder." The middle-aged man frowned slightly. He looked at the furious fourth elder and said indifferently that Yun Xianxia is someone that Xian'er risked her life to protect. If you do this, how can you be worthy of Xian'er's sacrifice? However, I also want to see what kind of person this Yun Xianxia is, to be able to make Xian'er risk her life to protect him. The fourth elder clenched his fists tightly, his old face gloomy. If he had known that Yun Xianxia would still be able to get out of bed, he wouldn't have shown mercy at that time. Someone like him didn't have the qualifications to match up with Ning Xian. Chapter 449. Outside the courtyard, the young girl stood in the wind. Her snow-white dress fluttered in the wind, and she was so beautiful that it was suffocating. Her eyebrows were wild, and her black eyes were deep and evil. Her rather lazy posture was like a beautiful painting, and it was so pleasing to the eye. However, the young lady narrowed her eyes slightly when she saw the members of the Ning clan walking out to welcome her. A dangerous and demonic light flashed in her eyes. Yun Xianxia had been standing beside Yun Luofeng the entire time. Her handsome face was no longer as pale as before, but there was still the weakness of someone who had just recovered from a serious illness. Her clear and cold eyes carried a stubborn light, and her straight body stood quietly under the gentle breeze, firm and determined. Only Lin Rubai, who was at the side, looked as if it had nothing to do with her. She blinked her eyes adorably, and her bright eyes carried an evil light. "Is that person in the navy blue robe the fourth elder?" Yun Luofeng immediately saw the old man behind the middle-aged man. Due to the anger and hatred on the old man's face, she immediately guessed his identity. Hearing this, Yun Xianxia nodded slightly. "It's him." Hearing the man's answer, Yun Luofeng didn't say anything else. She narrowed her eyes and examined the middle-aged man who was walking over quickly as she asked in a deep voice, "Where is Ning Xian?" She went straight to the point and asked about Ning Xian's whereabouts. The middle-aged man was slightly startled and smiled faintly. "I believe this must be the granddaughter of the general of Long Yuan country, Lady Yun Luofeng. My father once mentioned you to me, so I've heard of your name for a long time." "Where is Ning Xian?" The young girl acted as if she didn't hear the middle-aged man's words and continued to ask. The middle-aged man didn't expect Yun Luofeng to be so determined to see Ning Xian, and even ignored his words. He couldn't help but feel a little unhappy, and his voice no longer had the friendliness from before. "Xian'er is seriously ill in bed. I'm afraid she won't be able to meet any guests. Miss Yun, please go back." As he said this, the middle-aged man's eyes kept glancing at Yun Xianxia, sizing her up with a scrutinizing gaze. The more he looked, the more dissatisfied he became. This Yun Xianxia's talent was considered not bad in the secular world. For a power like theirs, Only the hedonistic young city lord of the medical city would be defeated by him. However, everyone knew that the young governor's talent was not that great. It was only because after the young governor had been born, the governor of the medical city had lost his ability to reproduce. Hence, he had pampered his only child so much, resulting in his lawless character. As for the Ning family, whether it was Ning Exin or fourth elder's grandson, they were both rare geniuses. It was also something a man like Xianxia could not compare to. He could treat the guest well for the sake of the old master and Ning Exin, but that did not mean that he could accept this man as his son-in-law. If you want her to die, then stop us from seeing her. If you want her to live, you must bring me to see Ning Exin now. Just as the middle-aged man was examining Xianxia, the beautiful girl beside him slowly spoke again. Her unquestionable tone made the middle-aged man's heart tremble. He frowned slightly. Humph! The fourth elder coldly snorted and looked at Yun Luofeng with a mocking gaze. His eyes were filled with ridicule. Little girl, I advise you to be a little more guilty. Do you think that you can call yourself a doctor just by reading a few medical books? Our Ning family has found so many famous doctors to be unable to cure this illness. Do you think that you can cure Ning Xin with your little ability? If it wasn't for the sake of the old head, you would have been thrown out of our Ning family a long time ago, and you still dare to clamor here. Chapter 450. The young girl glanced at the fourth elder evilly. The cold light in her eyes made one's heart tremble uncontrollably. It was as if a knife was placed on their necks, incomparably cold. Scram! Her cold shout exploded in the crowd like a bomb. Her demonic and beautiful face was shrouded in a layer of murderous intent. Whenever she thought of what the fourth elder had done to Xianxia, the anger in her heart would surge, and it would be enough to swallow a person in an instant. However, the most important thing now was Ning Xin's injuries. It would not be too late to settle the score with the fourth elder after Ning Xin's condition stabilized. The fourth elder was stunned for a moment before he regained his senses. Suddenly, a cold smile hung on his lips. Little girl, do you know what you're saying? This is the Ning family. What right do you have to tell me to scram? Who do you think you are? If you still want your life, you'd better leave this place. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. If it was in the past, the middle-aged man would have stopped the fourth elder. However, today, he did not do anything and quietly watched from the sidelines. He wanted to know, in the face of the fourth elder's oppression, how would this girl choose? Leave this place? Or to fight against the fourth elder? After all, even now, he still did not know why his old man would admire such a young girl so much. Therefore, he wanted to test Yun Luofeng's strength through the fourth elder. Yun Luofeng narrowed his eyes slightly, a dangerous light in his eyes that seemed to be smiling yet not smiling. You're asking me what right I have to tell you to scram? All right, I'll show you my qualifications now. After saying this, Yun Luofeng took out a dark green jade pendant from his sleeve. The word Ning, engraved on the jade pendant, shone brightly under the sunlight. Father's jade pendant? Why do you have this on your hand? The middle-aged man, who had been watching coldly from the side, was shocked when he saw Yun Luofeng take out the jade pendant. His eyes were filled with deep astonishment. Father's jade pendant? Why was it in her hands? And this jade pendant was a symbol of power. It meant that she could mobilize the Ning family's power at will. But why would father give the jade pendant to a girl he had never met before? Was this just out of admiration for her? It was just admiration. Father would never hand over such a precious thing. There must be some reason he did not know. The middle-aged man's face was filled with annoyance at the thought of this. If he had known that his father would give the jade pendant to her, he would not have remained so indifferent when the fourth elder had made things difficult for him. That's right, this is indeed the family head's jade pendant. The great elder carefully examined the jade pendant in Yun Luofeng's hand and came to this conclusion. Suddenly, the way everyone looked at Yun Luofeng changed. There was no longer any enmity in their eyes. I don't know if this is enough to make you scram. Yun Luofeng raised his black eyes slightly and turned to look at the ashen-faced fourth elder. The corners of his lips curled into a sinister smile. For a moment, the fourth elder was silent. He opened his mouth as if he wanted to say something, but in the end he closed it. This girl had the old master's jade pendant in her hands. If he insisted on chasing her away at this time, it would be disrespectful to the old master. Second uncle, let's go. I'm afraid Xianxia won't be able to hold on for long. Second uncle, let's go. I'm afraid Xianxia won't be able to hold on for long. Yun Luofeng looked at Xianxia and said in a low voice. Chapter 451. All right. Xianxia nodded slightly. He probably hadn't expected Yun Luofeng to have Elder Ning's jade token. No wonder she was so confident in coming to the Ning family. Seeing that the two of them were about to enter the Ning family, the fourth elder's expression changed. He quickly stepped forward and stopped them. Master, since this Yun Luofeng has come to the Ning family as a guest, we can treat our guests with courtesy. However, I don't think that he would be able to save the little girl Xianxia based on his own abilities. He might even end up making things worse and speeding up her death. Fourth elder gritted his teeth. So, I think that we cannot let him see the little girl Xianxia. Yun Luofeng's footsteps paused, and her pitch-black eyes gradually fell on the fourth elder's old face. Her gaze was bright and penetrating, as if she could see through the fourth elder's eyes and see his heart. That penetrating gaze made the fourth elder feel even more afraid, and he couldn't help but take a few steps back. Why do I feel that you don't want me to save Xianxia? Yun Luofeng took 2 steps towards fourth elder, her body exuding a dangerous aura. Is it because your son likes Xianxia, but Xianxia doesn't like your son? Is that why you're so angry and embarrassed that you think that if I can't have her, you can forget about having her? The fourth elder's expression suddenly changed. He could feel the middle-aged man's gloomy gaze and hurriedly defended himself. What nonsense are you spouting? I've treated Xianxia like my daughter since I was young. I want her to survive more than anyone else. Don't try to sow discord here. Patriarch, you must not believe this woman's nonsense. She clearly said that on purpose. As he said this, he looked anxiously at the middle-aged man. After feeling the other party's sharp aura, his heart slowly sank. Yun Luofeng, this damned brat. How dare she say such words in front of the patriarch? If she didn't have the patriarch's jade pendant in her hands, he would have already attacked this damned girl. Fourth elder, the middle-aged man's voice sank. You said that you want Xianxia heir to survive more than anyone else? The fourth elder quickly nodded and said solemnly, that's right, I want Xianxia to recover more than anyone else. At this moment, the fourth elder was only concerned with clearing his suspicions, but he didn't notice at all that his words had completely angered the middle-aged man. Aren't parents and relatives the ones who want their daughter to survive the most? But the fourth elder had actually exaggerated it. How dare he say that he was the one who wished for Xianxia's safety the most? Then what would he become? How could he not want his daughter to live as much as an outsider? Looking at the increasingly ugly expression on the middle-aged man's face, the fourth elder felt a little guilty. He didn't know what he had said wrong to cause the patriarch to be so angry. The middle-aged man glanced coldly at fourth elder, then turned his gaze to Yun Luofeng. After a moment of silence, he asked, can you really cure Xianxia? To tell the truth, he was the same as fourth elder. He did not think that Yun Luofeng had this strength. However, Xianxia would definitely die if she wasn't treated. As such, he could only take the risk and trust her once. However, this did not mean that he could accept the Yun family's Xianxia as his son-in-law. Second uncle Little White, let's go. Yun Luofeng did not answer the middle-aged man's words. He walked into the Ning family's main gate. In the Ning family, other than Elder Ning and Xianxia, she did not have a good impression of anyone else. Chapter 452. In the boudoir, the fragrance was pleasant. The snow-white veil fluttered in the wind, and one could vaguely see a beautiful body on the bed through the veil. The young girl's face was pale as she lay silently on the bed. Her breathing was extremely weak, so weak that it seemed as if it would dissipate at any moment. Looking at the young girl's pale face, Xianxia's heart suddenly tightened. Her black eyes were filled with guilt. If it wasn't for him, Xianxia wouldn't have been injured. Her condition isn't very serious. Perhaps feeling the guilt and worry in the man's heart, Yun Luofeng glanced at him and comforted him. Hearing Yun Luofeng's words, Yun Qingya's tightly clenched heart finally relaxed. From his point of view, if Yun Luofeng said that it was fine, it meant that Ning Xian's injuries could still be treated. The fourth elder snorted coldly as he glanced at Yun Luofeng with ridicule in his eyes. A hint of ridicule appeared on his aged face. I really don't know if you're pretending to understand. Lu Chen's palm had pierced a hole in Ning Xian's heart. If it wasn't for the fact that the medical pavilion had life-prolonging medicinal herbs that could extend her life for 10 days, Ning Xian might have died on that day. And all of this was caused by your Yun family. Whenever he thought about how Ning Xian had been seriously injured in order to save Yun Qingya, he gritted his teeth in hatred. This lowly girl, her son had pursued her for so many years, but she had remained unmoved. Yet she had lost her life for a useless man like Yun Qingya. He really brought this upon himself and couldn't bear it. Yun Qingya did not say anything. This time, he had tacitly agreed with the fourth elder's words. Indeed, if it wasn't for saving him, how could Ning Xian have been seriously injured? He owed her a life, so he could only repay it with his life. Yun Luofeng coldly glanced at the fourth elder. If you say another word, I don't mind. From today onwards, you won't be able to open your mouth. The fourth elder was so angry that his entire body was trembling. He gritted his teeth and said, You only dare to be so presumptuous because you have the old patriarch's jade tablet in your hands. If you didn't have the old patriarch to support you, what would you be? You'll find out soon enough. I need to treat Ning Xian now. I don't have time for you. Other than healing Ning Xian, she had also come here to avenge Yun Qingya. But Ning Xian couldn't drag things out any longer. She ignored fourth elder for now. My master told you to shut up. Hurry up and shut up. Lin Rubai glared at the fourth elder, who was about to continue speaking. I've never seen such a stupid old man. Is there no one in the Ning family to discipline him? From Little White's point of view, anyone whom master did not like was not a good person. And her master obviously hated these people from the Ning family, including her second uncle's future father-in-law. Therefore, none of these people were good people. The fourth elder's expression grew increasingly ugly. He opened his mouth but was interrupted by a voice next to him. Fourth brother, forget it. That last Ning Xian doesn't look like she's going to make it out alive. We can only try our best and trust this once. The great elder shook his head helplessly and sighed softly. His pitiful gaze fell on the half-dead girl on the bed, and a hint of heartache appeared in his eyes. Even though Ning Xian was the young miss of the Ning family, she had never been arrogant. She treated others peacefully and was dignified and magnanimous. Therefore, they all doted on her from the bottom of their hearts. Chapter 453. He never thought that Ning Xian would suffer such a serious injury this time. And this was all the fault of those bastards from the Medicine City. A murderous intent flashed across Elder Da's body. Even if Ning Xian manages to survive this time, he would never let the people from the Medicine City get away with it. They clearly knew that Ning Xian was in the Yun family home, and yet they still dared to attack the Yun family. They clearly have no regard for the Ning family. However, Elder Da has clearly wronged the Medicine City. If the Medicine City had known that Ning Xian was in the Yun family home, they would not have chosen to attack at that time. It was precisely because they thought that Ning Xian had left with Elder Ning that they had come to cause trouble. At least the Ning family has a sensible person. Lin Ruabai raised her chin, her adorable little face showing a hint of arrogance. She patted the great elder's shoulder and said in a lecturing tone, Unlike some people who don't believe in my master's abilities. If my master wasn't powerful, do you think the old master of the Ning family would have given her the jade pendant? The middle-aged man's face turned red. He had not believed in Yun Luofeng's abilities in the beginning and had even been moved by her rudeness. However, if he had known that Master Ning's jade pendant was in her hands, he would never have acted so rudely. Xiao Bai, don't speak. Yun Luofeng berated, I'm treating Ning Xian's illness. You can't disturb me. Do you understand? Lin Ruabai replied obediently and stood quietly by Yun Luofeng's side. She had taken out a stick of candied hawthorn from somewhere and was licking it adorably. The entire room became quiet. Even the fourth elder didn't dare to say a word. However, he stared at Yun Luofeng with a look of disdain. He clearly did not believe that this young girl had the ability to come back from the dead. What did you say? Deep in the mountains, the old man, who had been resting with his eyes closed, heard the youth's report and immediately opened his eyes. His elderly face was filled with anger. The Medicine City has the audacity to attack the Yun family while I was away? Are the Yun family members all right? Elder Ning, the Yun family is fine, but Lady Ning Xen was injured by Lu Qin in order to protect Xianxia. Her fate is unknown. Standing in front of Elder Ning was a doctor from the medical pavilion. He was ordered by Elder Rong to search for the whereabouts of Elder Ning. He was quite lucky to actually find Elder Ning, who was meditating in the depths of the mountain. Hearing this, a violent aura surged from Elder Ning's body, instantly destroying the surrounding trees. He rose angrily and asked with a livid face, "Where's Exener now?" A few days ago, he had sensed that he was on the verge of a breakthrough. In order to successfully break through, he had left Ning Xian at the Yun family and planned to find a quiet place to cultivate in seclusion. Who knew that so many things had happened in the past few days? Medical City. Lu Yin. Good. Very good. If they dared to touch his granddaughter, he would make them regret it for the rest of their lives. The young man glanced cautiously at Elder Ning. Miss Fangya has temporarily saved Miss Ning Xian's life, but she only has 10 days. Elder Rong has also sent people to look for Miss Yun. It's said that only Miss Yun can save her. 10 days. Elder Ning's heart tightened. How many days are left now? Today is already the last day. What? Elder Ning's face instantly turned pale. What about the Yun girl? Has she returned yet? The young man nodded. Miss Yun returned to Longyuan country a few days ago. Chapter 454. She's back? That's good. Elder Ning heaved a sigh of relief, his face no longer as ugly as before. With Yun girl's strength, as long as she returns, Xioner will be fine. Hearing Elder Ning's relieved voice, the young man replied timidly, but, just before Miss Yun returned, the fourth elder of the Ning family brought people to Longyuan country. Not only did he take Miss Ning Xan away, he also injured Miss Fangya and Yun Qingya of the Yun family. Boom! Elder Ning, who had calmed down, immediately became furious again. He smashed his fist on the ground, creating a fist-sized hole in the ground. This idiot! Is he trying to kill Xina? As long as Yun Luofeng returned, Ning Xian's injuries would not be a problem, but this idiot had forcefully taken Ning Xian away and injured Yun Qingya. This was clearly a deliberate attempt to harm Ning Xian. The young man shrunk his neck in fear. The usually calm Elder Ning actually had such a violent side to him. One could imagine the anger in his heart. This won't do, I have to go back immediately. Xena must be waiting for me to return home. Furthermore, I will strangle that idiot to death. At the end of his words, Elder Ning's aura became sorrowful. That sorrow was mixed with monstrous anger. If Xener died, whether it was the medical city or the fourth elder, he would not let a single one of them off. He would make these people accompany Xener in death. The young man glanced at Elder Ning, then quickly retracted his gaze. There's one more thing I haven't said. After Yun Luofeng found out that the Ning family had taken Lady Ning Xan away, he had already rushed to the Ning family with Yun Qingya. Furthermore, the forces near the Ning family also said that they saw Yun Luofeng enter the Ning family. On this day, Elder Ning experienced many ups and downs. First, he was furious when he found out about the medical city's actions, and then he was sad for his granddaughter's injuries. But when he heard that Yun Luofeng had returned to Longyuan country, he couldn't help but relax. But then, when he heard that the Ning family had forcefully taken Ning Xan away before Yun Luofeng returned, his originally relieved heart immediately turned into despair. Finally, this kid told him that Yun Luofeng had already arrived at the Ning family. If it was anyone else, after experiencing so much despair and hope, they would probably collapse. Elder Ning, on the other hand, was in a daze as he looked at the young man in front of him. Elder Ning. The young man waved his hand in front of Elder Ning and asked guiltily, "Are you all right?" If he accidentally caused the old man to die from a heart attack, Elder Rong would never let him off. I'm fine. Elder Ning snapped back to his senses and shook his head. He turned to look at the young man in front of him. Why didn't you tell me directly that my granddaughter is safe and sound? He only needed to tell him that his granddaughter had been injured by the beasts of the medical city and that Yun Luofeng had already rushed over to treat her. Why did he have to say so much nonsense? The young man rubbed his head. Elder Rong asked me to give you a complete report of everything. That's why I'm so detailed. Then why don't you say everything in one go? Elder Ning. The young man felt wronged. You're the one who didn't let me say everything in one go. Every time I was halfway through, you would interrupt me or use your aura to scare me. I understand. Elder Ning took a deep breath and suppressed the raging anger in his heart. He then said in a cold voice, when I had acknowledged Yun Luofeng as my granddaughter, I had given her the jade pendant that represented the Ning family's power. With this jade pendant in hand, the Ning family would not dare to hurt her. Now, I want to make a trip to the medical city to avenge my granddaughter. Since Yun Luofeng had rushed over to the Ning family, that meant that his granddaughter would not be in too much of a problem. He could then rest assured and settle the score. Chapter 455. The medical city was in a mess at this moment. The city governor of the medical city, Lin Gu, was so anxious that he paced back and forth in the great hall. Suddenly, a servant hurriedly walked in and clasped his fist respectfully, reporting to the city governor, Elder Ning of the Ning family has come to pay a visit. Hearing the servant's report, Lin Gu laughed bitterly. His handsome face carried a sense of helplessness. He still came in the end. Ever since he found out that Lu Yin had injured Ning Exin, he knew that the old man from the Ning family would come to settle the score with him sooner or later. And this old man was even more reasonable. Even if he brought out the Doctors' Association, it would be useless. Hee hee. Suddenly, a cold laugh rang out from the front of the courtyard. Soon after, an old man in green robes stepped into the courtyard. His indifferent and otherworldly features were curled into a mocking smile. You, the city governor of the medical city, are really a breeze. Even I have to concede defeat. However, the medical city did not keep its promise of 3 years and attacked the Yun family. I wonder if this news will cause the reputation of the medical city to be ruined? Lin Ji's expression changed. Elder Ning, this is a matter between me and the Yun family. Oomph. Elder Ning scoffed coldly and said expressionlessly, I don't care who it is between you and, I only know that the Yun family's Yun Luofeng is my goddaughter and my own granddaughter was injured by your medical city. We should settle this debt no matter what. Hearing Elder Ning's cold voice, Lin Ji's face carried a bitter smile. Elder Ning, this matter is indeed the fault of our medical city's Lu Yin. However, I don't think there's anything wrong with me attacking the Yun family. It was the Yun family who did not keep their promise in the first place. Xianxia is actually still alive. Since the Yun family did not keep their promise, why does our medical city need to keep our promise for 3 years? At this point, a vicious glint flashed across Lin Ji's eyes. His precious son was the most outstanding in his heart. No one could compare to him. However, that damned brat Xianxia had dared to make a fool of his precious son in public. How could he tolerate this? Elder Ning's expression darkened bit by bit. On the dueling platform, there is a battle for victory and defeat. Your son's strength is inferior to others, so who can you blame for his defeat? Do you want Xianxia to stand still and let him hit you? With such behavior, what's the point of setting up an arena? Hee hee, Lin Gu laughed mockingly. Elder Ning, you won't understand how I feel. Xianxia's actions back then not only hurt my son's pride, they also made me extremely angry. He is the devil in my son's heart. If he doesn't die, my son won't be able to live happily. But you've already sent people to kill Xianxia, causing him to be unable to see the light of day for 10 years. Isn't that enough? Elder Ning's eyes darkened as he asked coldly. No, not enough. I want him dead. Only when he's dead can I let go of the hatred in my heart. Lin Ji's eyes were filled with viciousness and his face was ferocious. Elder Ning shook his head. You're crazy. Completely insane. Didn't Xianxia just defeat him in the arena? She didn't kill him or cripple him. I really don't know where your hatred comes from. I can't talk to a lunatic like you at all. I came here today to make you give me an explanation. Explanation? Lin Go curled his lips. He no longer had the initial panic, his heart had also calmed down, and he calmly said, I don't know what you're talking about, but Ning Xian's injury wasn't the fault of our medical city in the first place. Who told her to rush out and block that move for Xianxia? If you want to find someone, go settle the score with the Yun family. If it wasn't for Xianxia, your granddaughter wouldn't have been injured. Chapter 456. Lin Gu did not understand why Ning Xian would fall for Xianxia. For him, she was willing to give up her life. If she did not love him to the extreme, she would not have done such a crazy thing. Elder Ning paused and said, I don't think there's anything wrong with Xianxia. In my opinion, that young man is very hardworking and does not bow to power. I admire his unyielding character. Besides, the people of the Yun family are not as bad as you say. That's right, they are indeed not strong. They are only a general of Long Yuan country. But after more than half a year of investigation, I have discovered that this family is worthy of admiration. In the beginning, Elder Ning investigated everything about the Yun family to understand Yun Luofeng better. Who knew that during this investigation, he would be deeply impressed by these people's unyielding character. Hearing Elder Ning's words of praise, Lin Gu sneered, unyielding character? Without strength, what's the use of having a body of unyielding character? No matter how much unyielding character Xianxia has, didn't he still not see the light of day for 10 years under the threat of my medical city? If I were him, I would rather commit suicide than live a life worse than death. I think he is clearly timid, otherwise he would not have dragged out an ignoble existence. You are wrong. Elder Ning stared at Lin Gu calmly. Xianxia did not commit suicide because he could not bear to let Yun Luofeng lose his eldest son. If he really did commit suicide because of this, perhaps I would not admire him so much. It is because he endured for 10 years for the sake of his family that I admire this young man so much. As if seeing Lin Ji's increasingly ugly expression, Elder Ning continued, as for the rest of the Yun family. That old man Yun Luofeng is foolishly loyal to the emperor, but he is a hot-blooded man. That year, the enemy country's king took a liking to his daughter-in-law, Bai Ling, and even used a battle to force him to hand over his daughter-in-law. In this country where men are supreme, he ordered his son to fight without hesitation, and did not need his daughter-in-law to ensure his safety. I do not know much about that young man Yin Yang, but to be able to command millions of soldiers in Long Yuan country, and to go through fire and water with so many soldiers, he must be a heroic hero. Elder Ning's tone was filled with admiration towards these people from the Yun family. A smile appeared on his aged face. However, within the Yun family, the person that I admire the most is none other than Yun Luofeng. That girl is a legendary existence. She has too many secrets that cannot be divulged. It was as if as long as she was there, any difficulty would be solved. You wouldn't understand this sort of feeling. It's like, when I heard that she had gone to the Ning family, I knew that my granddaughter would be safe and sound. When Yun Luofeng was mentioned, Elder Ning's expression softened. However, her gaze towards Lin Gu was still filled with a sharp light. Hee. Lin Gu raised the corner of his lips mockingly, his eyes filled with disdain. You actually hold the general's mansion in such high regard. On this mainland, the fist is king. If the Yun family isn't strong enough, they're destined to be trampled under my feet. Elder Ning did not expect this fellow to be so stubborn. His expression could not help but turn cold. Lin Gu, believe me, that girl Yun Luofeng is not someone who will stay in a small pond. One day, she will transform into a dragon. In the future, you might have to rely on her to live. This girl was not only gifted, but her medical skills were also superb. Perhaps it would not be long before she would transform into a golden dragon and soar into the sky. Chapter 457. No. Elder Ning seemed to have thought of something and shook his head. I forgot, you probably won't be able to wait until then. What a pity. Not everyone had the qualifications to witness her growth. In particular, what Lin Gu had done had exceeded the limits of what she could tolerate. Even if he didn't come to settle the score with him now, the girl wouldn't let him go. Elder Ning, you've really been brainwashed. Lin Ji's face carried the same ridicule as ever, as if he didn't take the old man's words to heart. What can a general's granddaughter accomplish? Don't exaggerate. As long as Xianxia is still alive, the Yun family must be destroyed. A sinister look flashed across Lin Ji's eyes. He gritted his teeth and said fiercely. Elder Ning's eyes darkened and he said coldly, "Then I won't discuss the Yun family with you today. Now, get that old fellow Lu Yin out here, I want to settle the score with him." It wasn't that Elder Ning didn't want to destroy the medical city, but that the medical city should be left for the Yun family to deal with. After all, the Yun family and the medical city had a deep hatred. Only by killing one's enemy with one's own hands could one feel this kind of hatred. If it was him, he wouldn't want to use other people's hands to deal with his enemies. Instead, he wanted to rely on his own efforts to fight against his enemies. Therefore, he didn't come here to cause trouble for the medical city. He just wanted to vent his anger on that old fellow Lu Yin. Elder Ning. Lin Ji's expression changed. Don't go too far. Lu Yin is indeed at fault in this matter, but he accidentally injured your granddaughter. If your granddaughter hadn't rushed out to protect Xianxia, how could she have been injured? I don't care who my granddaughter was injured to protect, I only know that the person who injured her was Lu Yin. Get him to come out and see me immediately. Elder Ning was no longer as indifferent as he was at the beginning. His old face was filled with coldness. Lin Ge, don't forget, my daughter is the disciple of an elder of the Doctors' Association. Aren't you afraid of being condemned by the Doctors' Association for doing this? Lin Ji's eyes grew colder and colder. Even though he knew that it was useless to bring up the Doctors' Association now, if he really handed Lu Yin over, he was afraid that from now on his medical city would lose all face. This was something he did not want to happen. Your daughter? Is she your adopted daughter? Elder Ning's lips curled into a mocking smile. Whether it's my biological daughter or my adopted daughter, I raised her. She is also wholeheartedly loyal to my medical city. If you do this, it will be equivalent to becoming enemies with the Doctors' Association. Lin Ge threatened in a low voice, but his gaze towards Elder Ning was full of solemnity. If Elder Ning suddenly flipped out, he didn't know if he would be able to withstand his strength. But no matter what, he wouldn't compromise. Don't count on the Doctors' Association. It was your medical city's fault in the first place. I'll avenge my granddaughter. I'd like to see who dares to say no. Elder Ning's green robe fluttered in the wind. His entire body was overflowing with a domineering aura. His eyes were filled with confidence and arrogance. He was only seeking revenge for his granddaughter. Even the Doctors' Association had no right to stop him. City Lord. Just as Lin Ji's expression darkened, Lu Yin's cold voice rang out from outside the hall. After the voice fell, an old man in a gray robe slowly walked into the hall from outside. His cold eyes turned to look at Elder Ning, who was standing quietly in the hall. Chapter 458. Since Elder Ning has come here to find me, then let me settle this matter. Even though he was looking at Elder Ning, his words were directed at Lin Ge. Lin Ge frowned. All right, Elder Lu Yin, I'll leave this old man to you. Yes, master. Lu Yin cupped his fists and turned his arrogant gaze towards Elder Ning. The corners of his lips curled into a mocking smile. Elder Ning, I know that you're stronger than me. That's why you dared to come to my medical city. However, I don't think I've done anything wrong. If there's anything wrong, it's your Ning family's fault for not being strict with your daughter. You've run off to a man's house at such a young age. Impudent. Boom. The aura from Elder Ning's body gushed out violently. His white hair danced in the wind and his eyes were filled with the flames of anger. It was as if he had the power to destroy everything. You're courting death. He stretched out his hand and picked Lu Yin up. The veins on his forehead bulged, and he no longer had his previous indifferent and elegant demeanor. His granddaughter was his bottom line. He would not allow anyone to insult her. What? Are you angry from embarrassment? Am I not speaking the truth? Your granddaughter, a virgin, ran off to the Yun family to have an affair with a wild man. If they hadn't been innocent, Ning Xian wouldn't have been injured in order to protect Xianxia. The smile on Lu Yin's lips grew even wider. He was not afraid of the old man in front of him at all. Bang! Elder Ning smashed Lu Yin's body fiercely onto the ground. His fist was wrapped in a layer of sharp aura as it landed with a loud bang. In an instant, the surrounding tables and chairs were lifted by his aura and sent flying in the air. Lu Yin, who was lying on the ground, vomited a mouthful of blood. The mocking smile on his pale face did not diminish. Instead, it increased. Elder Ning, even if you kill me, I will still say the same thing. Everything that happened today was because your Ning family was not strict enough. The medical city is not in the wrong. In other words, Ning Exen had been injured by the medical city, but she was the one in the wrong. On the contrary, what the medical city had done was right. Who told Ning Exen to seek death by rushing forward to block that palm for Xianxia? Bang! Old man Ning's fist descended once again, slamming into Lu Chen's face. In that instant, Lu Yin's face swelled up like a pig's head as blood continuously flowed out from his mouth. Let me tell you, Xianxia is my Ning family's son-in-law. What's wrong with my granddaughter living in her fiancé's house? Xianxia had a good character and a proud character. He believed that his granddaughter would not suffer any grievances if she followed him. Moreover, the Yun family still had a monstrous existence like Yun Luofeng. He believed that in time, it would be too late for others to curry favor with the Yun family. Hee. Lu Yin chuckled softly. His smile had a hint of success to it. His treacherous eyes flashed as he fearlessly faced the crazy old man in front of him. So the Ning family has fallen to such an extent. They actually dare to let the young miss of the Ning family marry Xianxia. After hearing Lu Yin's words, Elder Ning, who was already filled with killing intent, gradually restrained the killing intent in his body. The fist that was flying towards Lu Yin also stopped in midair. I regret it. Elder Ning's expression gradually returned to normal. His indifferent eyes quietly stared at the old man lying on the ground. Originally, I wanted to come here to kill you, but now I regret it. Chapter 459. Lu Yin laughed icily and turned his head away, not even sparing Elder Ning a glance. Because. Elder Ning raised his eyelids and slowly shifted his gaze away from Lu Yin. He then spoke in an indifferent tone. Letting you die now would be letting you off too lightly. Since you look down on the Yun family so much, I'll let you see with your dog eyes how they'll climb over the heads of the medicine city. In the beginning, Elder Ning had indeed come with the intention of killing Lu Yin. But now, he had shown mercy. His aim was to let those who looked down on the Yun family sink into the abyss of despair. Ha! Lu Yin laughed maniacally. His elderly face was covered in blood and he looked exceptionally ferocious. Climb over the heads of the medicine city? Elder Ning, don't you think too highly of those people? Let me tell you, even if the Yun family exhausted their entire lives, they would never be able to surpass the medicine city. So what if the Yun family has a genius like Yun Luofeng? A genius is just a genius. After all, there are countless geniuses on this mainland who die prematurely. Elder Ning narrowed his eyes and a cold light flashed across his elderly eyes. Lu Yin, I hope that you won't regret your words today in the future. He then turned towards Lin Gu and spoke coldly, even though I don't intend to kill Lu Yin now, the medicine city still needs to pay the price for your actions. I've heard that there are countless precious medicinal herbs in the medicine city, especially a blood ginseng which has already lived for 1,000 years. Lin Ji's eyes darkened. What do you mean by that? Hee, what I mean is very simple. I want the blood ginseng from the medicine city. Elder Ning regained his calm and tranquil expression as he spoke indifferently. No way, this blood ginseng is an exhibit that I intend to display at the doctor's conference in 3 years' time. I can't give it to you. If you don't hand over the blood ginseng, I won't be leaving this place today. Elder Ning sat down by himself and poured himself a cup of tea. The corners of his lips curled into a faint smile. Little Yun had run all over the place for the sake of his granddaughter. She had even rushed all the way from Long Yuan country to the Ning family. As her god-grandfather, it would be inexcusable if he did not prepare a gift for her. Since this little girl was a doctor, she should be more interested in medicinal herbs. How could he not take advantage of this opportunity to reap some benefits? Elder Ning, you're not a doctor. Why do you need medicinal herbs? Lin Gu fiercely gritted his teeth. He knew that this old man was not kind, but he did not expect that he would have designs on the blood ginseng. What was the blood ginseng? It was said that as long as she still had a breath in her body, a piece of blood ginseng in her mouth could prolong her life by a few days. Not only doctors can have things like blood ginseng. Lin Gu, it's up to you. Do you want me to stay here or hand over the blood ginseng? My temper hasn't been very good these days. When I'm bored, I like to kill a few people for fun, Elder Ning said calmly. He gently tasted the tea in his hand and said expressionlessly. His meaning was very clear. If Lin Gu did not hand over the 1,000-year blood ginseng, he would definitely stay in the Ning family for the night. Every day, he would kill a few people from the Ning family for fun. Even if the Ning family had a lot of people, they couldn't withstand the old man's brutal behavior when he was itching for a fight. Elder Ning, you are angry at Lu Yin, and he was beaten up by you. What else do you want? Lin Gu gritted his teeth and asked angrily. Elder Ning glanced at him. I want the blood ginseng. If you don't give it to me, I won't leave. This old man was very strong-willed. He did not want anything else but that stalk of 1,000-year blood ginseng. Chapter 460. Good, very good. Lin Gu was so angry that he laughed. He gritted his teeth and said, Elder Ning, don't regret what you've done today. Someone bring me the blood ginseng. Regret? Elder Ning smiled faintly. The medical city would be the one to regret in the future. Not long after, a servant girl dragged the blood ginseng onto a tray and walked into the hall. When the red cloth covering the tray was lifted, a blood-red ginseng appeared before everyone's eyes. The ginseng was bright red and the smell of blood rushed towards them. However, it did not make them feel nauseous. Instead, it made the blood in their bodies churn. That's right, this is the blood ginseng. Elder Ning's eyes were full of smiles. At least you didn't use anything else to brush me off. I'll accept this blood ginseng without hesitation. Ha! After saying this, Elder Ning raised his hand and kept the blood ginseng. Send the guest off. Lin Ji's face was ashen as he coldly ordered. He did not want to look at this old man anymore. Otherwise, he was afraid that he would not be able to control his temper and fall out with this old man on the spot. Of course, they could be considered to have fallen out now. Oh, right. Elder Ning had just taken a few steps when he seemed to remember something and paused. Your medical city is rich in resources and should have a lot of medicinal herbs. I'm interested in going to the medical city's medicine storehouse. Old thing, don't go too far. Lin Gu clenched his fists tightly. He had tolerated this old man over and over again, but he did not expect him to be this shameless. Facing the gloomy Lin Gu, Elder Ning smiled faintly. If you had taken the initiative to bring me to the medicine storehouse, I might have stopped. However, you actually treated me with such an attitude. This won't do. I must go to the medicine storehouse this time. Lin Gu was so angry that his entire body was trembling. He could not even say a word. If looks could kill, Elder Ning would have been killed by him a few hundred times. Master, let's not get angry with this kind of person. Lu Yin walked to Lin Ji's side with his body covered in wounds. There was a hint of gloom in his eyes. This old man has already fallen into my trap. Because Elder Ning had already gone far away in search of the medicinal storehouse, Lu Yin dared to say such words. If Elder Ning was here, he would not say another word no matter what. Lin Gu frowned. What do you mean? Hee hee, Lu Yin laughed sinisterly. Elder Ning flew into a rage out of humiliation and said that Xianxia was his grandson-in-law. This way, even if he calmed down later on, he would still marry Ning Xen to Xianxia for the sake of face. This way, the power of the Ning family would end in Ning Xian's hands. Ning Xen was the only daughter of the Ning family. Even though her talent was outstanding, she still found a powerless man like Xianxia. Otherwise, if Ning Xian were to marry an outstanding man, it would be too late for the medical city to take revenge. But the Ning family has Elder Ning, this old thing. We still can't do anything about it. Lin Ji's brows knitted tighter and tighter, his face clearly carrying a hint of helplessness. Patriarch, do you think Elder Ning's illness can be cured? Lu Yin glanced at Lin Gu. Back then, countless famous doctors treated Elder Ning and said that it was impossible for him to recover. But now, he actually claims that his illness has been cured by Yun Luofeng. Do you believe this? I think that Elder Ning thinks that his time is coming to an end. In order to prevent others from having any ideas about the Ning family, he deliberately said such words. Chapter 461. The Ning family was only stronger than Elder Ning. Without Elder Ning, the Ning family would not be able to stir up any waves. Lin Gu sighed. Back then, although Xianxia did not die, he could only be a piece of trash. However, now that he has appeared in front of the eyes of the world, perhaps that Yun Luofeng really does have some ability, Lu Yin scoffed. At the beginning, his thoughts were completely the same as Lin Ji's, but after he left Long Yuan, he secretly investigated Yun Luofeng's deeds. This girl obviously didn't have anyone as her master, so how could she have such brilliant medical skills? Could it be that she could teach herself? Was this possible? As for Yun Luofeng restoring the male characteristics of a eunuch in the palace, perhaps she had some precious medicinal herbs in her hands. He had heard of a medicinal herb that could regenerate broken bones, but it did not prove her ability. City Lord, more than 10 years ago, we heavily injured Xianxia, but who knows if he really became a cripple? Perhaps his injuries have long since recovered, and he has only been hiding his strength for the past 10 years. Hearing Lu Yin's analysis, Lin Gu nodded in agreement. What you said makes sense. We have never seen Yun Luofeng's true abilities, so how do we know that she has extremely high medical skills? Perhaps she is just fooling the world. The corner of Lu Yin's lips curled up into a mocking smile. City Lord, Elder Ning definitely won't be able to live for long, and before that, let's not make a move against the Yun family. Otherwise, that old man will definitely come out to stop us. As long as he dies, whether it's the Yun family or the Ning family, we can destroy them with a flip of our hands. Elder Lu Yin, you're right. Thinking of the humiliation he had suffered today, Lin Ji's eyes were filled with killing intent. Oh right, how is the young city lord? Lu Chen was slightly startled and fell silent. After a long while, he replied, the young city lord heard that Xianxia is still alive and is currently in a rage. He won't listen to us no matter how hard we try to persuade him. Lin Gu sighed helplessly, his expression softening. Go and tell him that father will definitely avenge him. That brat Xianxia. He won't be able to live for long. In the Ning family's boudoir, a young girl was lying on the bed with her eyes closed. Her pale face was dazzling under the sun. Yun Luofeng slowly stood up and turned his head to look at the people behind him. Today is the last day. I've already helped her recover. Now, I'll let my second uncle stay here to accompany her. All of you, come with me. I still have some matters to settle with you. No! The fourth elder's expression changed. Xianxia, this brat, has ulterior motives towards the eldest miss. How can we let him stay behind alone? I disagree. As soon as he finished speaking, a chilly gaze shot towards him, causing his throat to instantly tighten. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. What I want to settle is the debt with you. The corners of the young girl's lips curled up slightly. Her black eyes were filled with a dangerous light as she gradually approached the fourth elder. So, leave this place with me immediately. The fourth elder's eyes darkened. Just as he was about to say something, he was interrupted by the young girl beside him. Yun Luofeng turned his gaze towards the middle-aged man and smiled lazily. If you don't mind me disturbing Ning Xian's rest here, then I'm willing to settle the score in my room. But you have to think carefully, the consequences of disturbing her rest. It's very serious. Chapter 462. The middle-aged man turned and looked at Ning Xian, who was lying on the bed. After a moment of silence, he looked at Yun Luofeng again. All right, let's talk outside. Master. Fourth elder's expression became even uglier. He stared at Yun Luofeng with a gloomy gaze. Girl, don't go too far. You are only an earth spirit, you are no match for me. Since you know who I am, don't tell me, you don't know that what I like to do the most is to bully others? Yun Luofeng's lips curled into a smile. His pitch-black eyes were filled with an evil smile. Her smile was like that of a demon, forcing people step by step into the abyss of despair. Fourth elder seemed to have heard a funny joke and couldn't help but laugh. Bully others? Yun Luofeng, even if you have the old master's jade pendant, at the end of the day, you are still an outsider. You dare to bully others in the Ning family? Didn't your grandfather teach you any rules? His eyes were full of disdain, as if he didn't care about the young girl in front of him at all. At this moment, an old hand suddenly reached out from the side and grabbed his clothes tightly. Then, the old man walked out of the door with large strides. Fourth elder was stunned. He swept an angry gaze at the elder next to him and said darkly, "First elder, what are you doing?" Hearing this, the first elder swept an indifferent gaze at fourth elder and said lightly, "Ning Xen needs to rest. If there's anything, let's talk outside." As soon as he said that one word, his body was thrown to the ground by the head elder. With a bang, a muffled sound rang out. Then, an endless amount of anger spewed out from his chest, as if he wanted to burn the head elder into ashes. Lady Yun, the middle-aged man, furrowed his brows slightly as his gaze shifted from fourth elder to the peerless beauty next to him. His tone no longer held the sense of superiority he had at the beginning. "I wonder what mistake fourth elder has committed? Why are you treating him like this?" These words, he was still considered polite. But Yun Luofeng still heard the man's questioning tone. After all, the fourth elder was an elder of the Ning family. No matter what he did wrong, it was not up to an outsider to criticize him. Thinking up to here, the evil smile on Yun Luofeng's face became extremely sinister. "The second reason I came here is to avenge my second uncle." The middle-aged man was stunned for a moment and frowned in confusion. Just now at the door, the fourth elder's tone towards Xianxia was indeed a little unfriendly. "I can ask him to apologize to Xianxia, but it's just a verbal dispute. There's no need to be so ruthless, right?" With regards to the actions of the fourth elder in Long Yuan country, the man did not know about it. He thought that it was just a verbal dispute. Hence, he said such words. Yun Luofeng glanced at the middle-aged man beside her. Her gaze was as cold as a knife, as if it could cut into the hearts of others, making them tremble incomparably. "In order to snatch Ning Xen away, he beat up my second uncle. Shouldn't I settle this debt?" "Are you telling the truth?" The middle-aged man's expression instantly darkened. He had never expected that such a thing would happen when he had asked the fourth elder to bring Ning Xen home. This time, the fourth elder was really too muddle-headed. Whether it's true or not, you just need to ask him. Furthermore, this matter happened in the medical pavilion, and there are people from the medical pavilion who can testify. Chapter 463. Hearing the two words, medical pavilion, the middle-aged man chose to believe Yun Luofeng's words. His sharp eyes swept coldly towards the fourth elder and said in a deep voice, "Fourth elder, you really have guts. I've already warned you to be more polite to the people of the Yun family, but you actually injured the Yun family's Xianxia. When the old man returns, I want to see how you will explain this to him." The fourth elder coldly snorted that Xianxia harbored ill intentions and wanted to seduce Ning Xen. Furthermore, if it wasn't for him, Ning Xen wouldn't have been injured. "I'm just angry." Without waiting for the fourth elder to finish speaking, the middle-aged man slapped him hard, causing him to feel dizzy and see stars. "You still dare to shirk? The Yun family is someone that the old man admires. If you do this, where will the old man be? As for Xiener's marriage, I will make the decision. It's not your turn to worry about it. Furthermore, Xiener only protected Xianxia because the old man admired the Yun family. It's not some kind of seduction that you mentioned." The man's words caused Yun Luofeng to frown. He glanced at him coldly before retracting his gaze. Although the Ning family's patriarch was trying to absolve Xianxia, he had already explained one thing. Ning Xen would not marry Xianxia. Even though Yun Luofeng had displayed extraordinary medical skills, she did not have the ability to compare to the Yun family. Thus, it was no wonder that the Ning family's patriarch was unwilling to hand Ning Xen over to the Yun family. Unless she joined the Doctors' Association, with the Doctors' Association as her backing, the world could only curry favor with her. But was that possible? It was impossible for her to join any power. She would only rely on her own strength to support the Yun family. But, Patriarch, I am still an elder of the Ning family. This girl is so bold as to come to the Ning family to settle scores with me. Isn't that the same as slapping the Ning family's face? The fourth elder glared fiercely at Yun Luofeng. No matter how big a mistake he had made, as long as he did not threaten the Ning family would not punish him. That was why he had the courage to say such words to the middle-aged man. Yun Luofeng glanced at fourth elder evilly. The corners of her lips gradually curled up into a smile. Her smile was cold, like a gust of cold wind blowing across her face. In my opinion, what your Ning family has done is a real slap in the face. She leaned against a big tree and said with a faint smile, now that I have Elder Ning's jade pendant in my hand, no one in the Ning family dares to disobey my orders. Haha. The fourth elder laughed crazily a few times. Yun Luofeng, you're dreaming too much. You want to deal with me with just that jade pendant? Unless Elder Ning returns personally, the clan head doesn't have the right to send me away. Really? Yun Luofeng raised her eyebrows. She smiled evilly at the other elders of the Ning family and said, now, as Elder Ning, I order all of you to beat him to death. Yun Luofeng, I've said it before, The fourth elder wanted to continue mocking her, but at this moment, he suddenly realized that the great elder and the others were walking towards him. What do you want? His eyes showed a trace of terror and his body subconsciously moved back a few steps. Fourth elder, we have no other choice. This girl is holding the old master's jade pendant, which is equivalent to representing the old master himself. We have no choice but to obey her orders. Otherwise, we would be disloyal to the old master. Chapter 464. The great elder shook his head helplessly. Although he said so, he was trying hard to suppress his laughter in his heart. All these years, fourth brother had been using the fact that his son was second only to Ning Exin among the younger generation of the Ning family, and that he might even become Ning Xian's fiancé. Thus, he began to act like a tyrant. Even if he was ranked fourth among the elders, his prestige was even greater than the boss. He had tolerated him for a long time. Now that there was such an opportunity, how could he let it go? The other elders also did the same. They had already had enough. If it wasn't for the fact that they were worried that fourth brother's son would become the future head of the Ning family, they wouldn't have tolerated him so much. After all, Ning Exin was the only daughter in the third generation of the Ning family. Whoever married her would be the future head of the Ning family. Yun Luofeng. The fourth elder roared angrily at Yun Luofeng. How dare you use my Ning family's people to deal with me? Fight me one-on-one if you have the guts. Yun Luofeng curled the corners of her lips and leaned lazily against the tree. She had a smile on her face as if she was watching a good show. I've said it before. What I love the most is to bully others. What can you do to me? Everyone in the Long Yuan nation knew that Yun Luofeng, the eldest daughter of the general's mansion, was a hedonistic young master who loved to bully others. Now, she was merely displaying her hedonistic side, so why couldn't she? Yun Luofeng, you actually don't dare to compete with me fairly, you trash. Under this intense anger, the fourth elder could no longer choose his words. He even blurted out the word, trash. This time, before Yun Luofeng could retort, Lin Ruobai's cute voice came from the side. You're really shameless. You still dare to say that you want to have a fair duel with my master? Why don't you take a look at how old you are? You've only reached the heavenly spirit realm with half your body in the grave, yet you dare to say that my master, who broke through to the earth spirit realm at the age of 15, is trash? What was so great about the Ning family that they dared to humiliate her master like this? One day, she would ask her father to avenge her master. No one had the right to speak ill of master. Little White, here. Master, what are your orders? Lin Ruobai was startled when he heard Yun Luofeng's words. He respectfully waited for Yun Luofeng's instructions. Her eyes shone with boundless light, as resplendent as the stars. Could it be that master had been provoked by this old man and planned to personally teach him a lesson? This was simply fantastic. She believed that even if her master was only an earth spiritualist, he would still be able to defeat the fourth elder, who was a heavenly spiritualist. I'm tired. Who knew that after Lin Ruobai waited for a long time, all he got was this indifferent reply from Yun Luofeng. Lin Ruobai's little face immediately fell. She pursed her lips and obediently ran into the hall. She brought a chair over and placed it behind Yun Luofeng. After Yun Luofeng sat down, Lin Ruobai arrogantly walked behind her and giggled. "Master, do you need disciple to massage your shoulders and legs?" "All right." Yun Luofeng sat lazily on a wooden chair. The corners of his lips curled into a smile as he stared at the fourth elder, who was surrounded and attacked by the crowd. "Fourth elder, I'm sorry. Who asked you to disobey the master's orders and commit such a grave mistake? This time, no one can protect you." The great elder had already walked in front of the fourth elder. He then gave a look to the elders beside him. In an instant, the aura of the elders spread out and surrounded the fourth elder. Chapter 465. Eldest brother, second brother, third brother, don't bang. Elder Da's fist came crashing down and landed squarely on Elder Four's chest. He endured the pain in his chest and instantly leapt up from the ground, desperately trying to fight back. Unfortunately, he was outnumbered and after a few blows, he was beaten to the ground, unable to move. His eyes were filled with hatred as he glared angrily at Yun Luofeng. If looks could kill, Yun Luofeng would have been hacked into 1,000 pieces and died without a complete corpse. "Yun Luofeng, your heart is evil and you will never have a good death." His voice was like a curse, circling around everyone's hearts. However, in the face of his malicious words, Yun Luofeng only raised the corners of her lips and replied in a languid voice, "It seems that everyone who is lost to me will say this before they die. But I won't let you die too early." At this moment, the young girl was leaning lazily against the back of her chair, her peerlessly beautiful face carrying her usual evil smile. She was like a high and mighty queen, arrogant and domineering. Her pitch-black eyes were filled with disdain for the world. Just one look from her made him feel as if needles were stabbing his back and his entire body trembled. Elder Da spat out a mouthful of blood and his entire body collapsed. He tried to open his swollen eyes, but no matter how hard he tried, his vision was still a blur. In this blurry vision, he could only see the young girl's fluttering white robes. Thud. Elder Four's body finally collapsed with a muffled thud. His robes were tattered beyond recognition and bright red blood slowly flowed from the corner of his mouth. "Lock him up first. When Ning Xian wakes up, I'll ask second uncle to punish him." Now that Ning Xian has yet to awaken, second uncle probably has no other intentions but to accompany Ning Xian. The person that Elder Four had injured was second uncle. Second uncle must personally deal with this matter. "Master, please have some tea." Lin Ruobai poured a cup of tea out of nowhere and presented it to Yun Luofeng as if she was offering a gift. Her adorable little face lit up with a brilliant smile. "Where did you get this tea from?" Yun Luofeng picked up the cup of tea and took a sip. After tasting the tea, she couldn't help but frown. Lin Ruobai blinked. "I found it in one of the compartments, but I have to say that these tea leaves were really well hidden. They were actually hidden in the wall compartment. If it wasn't for my keen sense of smell, I wouldn't have been able to find these tea leaves." After this little girl had massaged Yun Luofeng's legs for a while, she had noticed that her master hadn't drunk water for a long time and was probably thirsty. Taking advantage of the fact that no one was paying attention, she had turned the Ning family's house upside down. Then she accidentally discovered the lattice on the wall. The tea leaves were hidden so tightly that they must be of the highest quality. Thus, she hurriedly took the tea leaves and offered them to her master. In Little White's eyes, all good things should be given to her master. The Ning family actually dared to hide something. "Where did you say you found the tea leaves?" The middle-aged man's expression suddenly changed, and there was a hint of panic in his eyes. "Master, is there something wrong with his ears? I already said that I found it in the lattice in the wall of the study, and he actually asked me where the tea leaves came from." Lin Ruobai pursed his lips and said, "Thump." The middle-aged man staggered and almost fell to the ground. "It's over." His private stash had been found by this little girl just like that. One must know that he and his father both loved tea. No matter what quality tea he had obtained, it had all been taken away by that old man. So this time, he had chosen to hide the tea leaves. Chapter 466. But he never thought that it would still be dug out. The middle-aged man felt the urge to cry. If this little girl was not Yun Luofeng's disciple, he would have rushed forward and strangled her to death. The quality of this tea is not good enough. Yun Luofeng handed the teacup to Lin Ruobai. Take it away. The middle-aged man's lips twitched violently. This woman dared to say that the quality of his precious private collection was not good enough? Does she even know how to taste tea? Yes, master. Lin Ruobai stuck out her tongue cutely. This is the best tea I've found in the Ning family. The others are even worse. It looks like the Ning family is really poor to only have tea of this quality. I'll give Elder Ning some good tea some other day. Yun Luofeng said carelessly. On this mainland, Elder Ning was one of the few people who treated her sincerely. Hence, she would not be stingy with this old man. So, the next time she sees Elder Ning, she will give him some spiritual tea. The middle-aged man snorted disdainfully at Yun Luofeng's words. He did not think that Yun Luofeng would be able to produce better tea than him, not to mention satisfying that picky father of hers. However, for the sake of his pride, her father would certainly accept her tea. Great Elder. The middle-aged man turned to look at Great Elder and said, Take Fourth Elder away and wait for my father's return to deal with him. Yun Luofeng curled the corners of her lips. She had said that she would continue to punish Fourth Elder when Ning Xian wakes up. But in the middle-aged man's mouth, it had become Elder Ning's return. Unfortunately, whether Elder Ning returned or not would not be able to decide her thoughts. Fourth Elder must die. Yes, master. Great Elder joined his fists and waved his hand, ordering coldly, Guards, lock him up and watch him closely. Do not allow him to escape. Yes, your majesty. In the great hall, the middle-aged man was in the middle of a discussion with Great Elder when an angry voice sounded from outside the door. Get out of the way, all of you get out of the way. I want to see the master. What has my father done wrong for the Ning family to treat him like this? It's Ning Yuan. Great Elder heard the familiar voice from outside the door and frowned as he spoke in a low voice. Let him in. The middle-aged man sighed and said helplessly. Not long after, a handsome young man quickly walked into the lobby. His words were filled with questions as he stared at the two people in front of him. Patriarch, you must give me an explanation. You took advantage of the fact that the old patriarch was not home to treat my father like this. My father has been loyal to the Ning family for so many years in vain. Family head Ning frowned slightly. Ning Yuan, this is your father's fault. I can't do anything about it. I asked him to bring Ning Xian back, but he hurt her. Now that they are here, what can I do? Patriarch, this is the Ning family. Who dares to disobey your orders? Ning Yuan trembled with anger and gnashed his teeth. Ning Yuan, Master Ning's expression was a little displeased. That girl is Exener's savior. Furthermore, she has the old master's jade pendant in her hands. She has absolute authority in the Ning family. Regarding Ning Yuan, family head Ning had admired him before this. Even though Ning Yuan was arrogant and despotic, his talent was outstanding and his feelings for Ning Xian were sincere. Most importantly, he had never been a womanizer in all these years. At most, he had gotten into a fight with someone. Chapter 467. He believed that if Ning Xian followed him, he would never let her suffer any grievances. However, it wasn't until he saw Yun Luofeng that he realized what a true genius was. It was a pity that the Yun family was too weak. Otherwise, he would really want to marry Ning Xian to Yun Xianxia. It was precisely because the Yun family did not have absolute power that he gave up on this idea. Her daughter must have a strong backing. Ning Yuan's father was an elder of the Ning family and was also a heavenly spirit realm expert. Therefore, Ning Yuan had the qualifications to marry Ning Xian. But that was only in the past. Now that Ning Yuan's father had done such a thing, the old man would definitely not allow Ning Xian to marry him again. Therefore, he could only choose a good son-in-law for Ning Xian. Patriarch, what is that Yun family? How could they have the old patriarch's jade pendant? She must have used some method to steal it from the old man's hands. As for that Yun Xianxia, she has ill intentions towards Ning Xian. I beg the patriarch to expel these people from the Ning family. Steal? The Ning family head's face darkened. Ning Yuan, what do you think the old man is? Even though that girl Yun Luofeng is a genius, she doesn't have the ability to steal from the old man's hands. If he really let her have her way, wouldn't the old man lose all his face? Alright, you don't need to say anything more. Leave immediately, or else I will deal with you and your father together. Ning Yuan's body trembled. He glared fiercely at the Ning family head, turned around and walked out. The moment he turned around, a stream of tears flowed down from his eyes. He couldn't help but clench his fists tightly. Ning Xen. Now, whenever he thought of this name, his heart would ache. It was so painful that he couldn't extricate himself. He really didn't understand why he had done so much for Ning Xin and protected her for so many years, but she had never put him in her eyes. Instead, his heart had been hooked by that bastard Xianxia. He would never let anyone take Ning Xin away. Never. Ning Yuan's eyes gradually became firm. In order to get Ning Xin, he could do anything. Bang. Ning Yuan, who was thinking about something, did not see the cute figure in front of him at all. The two of them collided and he took 2 steps back. Who is so blind that he dares to bump into me? Ning Yuan was furious. His eyes were filled with a cold light as he looked at the person in front of him. It was a cute young girl with fair and tender skin that exuded a luster. One couldn't help but want to go up and give her a kiss. Her eyes were like stars, pure and bright. A glint of surprise flashed across Ning Yuan's eyes. It was rare to see such an adorable young girl. Unfortunately, he already had Ning Xin in his heart. Other than Ning Xin, he would not want any other woman. Who are you? Lin Ruobai rubbed his aching forehead, a hint of anger clearly visible on his face. Humph. I should be the one asking you that. Who let this yellow-haired little girl into my Ning family? Hurry up and throw her out. If it was in the past, Ning Yuan wouldn't bother with a woman. But today he was in a bad mood and didn't like anyone, but this stupid woman just had to bump into him. Wasn't she looking for death? Bang. Lin Ruobai kicked Ning Yuan's crotch. Immediately, a shrill voice spread throughout the entire Ning family's courtyard. As Ning Yuan wasn't at the Ning family's residence and had just rushed back, he didn't know Lin Ruobai, nor did he know that this little girl was in cahoots with Yun Luofeng. Damned girl, you actually dared to kick me. Ning Yuan's face twisted as he said sinisterly, if I die without descendants, I will definitely cripple you. Chapter 468. Ever since he was young, no one had dared to treat him like this. He would remember this debt. I'm going to kick you. Lin Ruobai placed her hands on her hips and raised her head high. Also, remember, I didn't sneak in. I fought my way in with my master. Master? Ning Yuan was startled. Your master is? Lin Ruobai snorted. My master is Yun Luofeng. Yun Luofeng. These 3 words were like a heavy blow to Ning Yuan's heart, causing his face to contort even further. He roared furiously, so you're Yun Luofeng's disciple. I'm going to kill you and avenge my father's death. After saying this, Ning Yuan's body was like a bolt of lightning as he quickly pounced towards Lin Ruobai. Lin Ruobai was obviously startled and hurriedly dodged to the side. Was this fellow crazy? He actually wanted to fight with his life? And he just said that he wanted to avenge his father? Suddenly, Lin Ruobai reacted and his little face turned cold. You're the son of the Ning family's 4th elder? Great, I was just looking for you, and you've delivered yourself to my doorstep. Milk tea bite him. Squeak squeak. Milk tea came out of nowhere and bit Ning Yuan's shoulder. Its teeth were still sharp and pierced deeply into his skin. Ah! Ning Yuan screamed and grabbed the little hamster on his shoulder. He wanted to crush the little hamster into a meat patty. However, the moment he swung his hand down, he clearly saw the little hamster's disdain. Damn it. Even a gold-seeking mouse dared to look down on him now. Since that was the case, he would let this gold-seeking mouse see his strength. Bang! Ning Yuan's palm slammed down and his shoulder instantly turned ashen. When he removed his palm, he suddenly realized that the little hamster had disappeared. Squeak squeak. A cry suddenly came from the front as if it was mocking him. Ning Yuan's expression became even more furious as he turned his gaze forward hatefully. At that moment, Milk Tea was lying comfortably on a fallen leaf on the ground. Her little paw pointed towards Ning Yuan and she called out to Lin Ruobai who was beside her. Understood. Lin Ruobai understood what Milk Tea was trying to say. He immediately shouted and kicked Ning Yuan. Brat, I'll let you have a taste of my little white flying kick. Ning Yuan was stunned and quickly retreated. However, little white's speed was too fast. Before Ning Yuan could escape, her foot fiercely kicked the youth's face. With a thump, Ning Yuan's body was sent flying. The footprint on his face was so clear that it confirmed the painful scene the young man had just suffered. Who asked you to snatch my master's second uncle's woman? Lin Ruobai's body flew up and landed on Ning Yuan's body. He arrogantly raised his little head. Let's see if you still dare to dream about master's aunt in the future. Pressed by her, Ning Yuan spat out a mouthful of blood, clenched his teeth tightly, and forced out a few words. You are so fucking heavy. It would have been fine if Ning Yuan hadn't said this, but the moment he said this, Lin Ruobai was completely enraged. She punched Ning Yuan's face fiercely with her pink fist, and her cute little face looked hideous. How dare you insult me? I'm only 40 kilograms. When she said the last sentence, Lin Ruobai felt a little guilty. In order to cover up her guilty conscience, she punched Ning Yuan again. Chapter 469. Ning Yuan grabbed the soil under his body tightly. Even his nails were covered in mud. At this moment, he only felt that his body was about to be flattened, and his red and swollen cheeks were hurting. Damned girl, stop it right now. He shouted angrily. I am a member of the Ning family and my grandfather is an elder of the Ning family. The Ning family will not let you off for treating me like this. Tsk, even your grandfather was defeated by my master. Who do you think you are? Lin Ruobai's face blossomed into a bright smile. Her smile was like that of a demon, causing Ning Yuan's heart to tremble. Damn girl, just you wait. One day, I will hang you and your master up and beat you up. Ning Yuan's face was already beyond recognition from Lin Ruobai's slap. His body trembled non-stop and even his speech became unclear. Kid, don't you think you are very powerful? You can't even beat me, how powerful can you be? Let me tell you, my master is much more powerful than me. Do you think you are worthy of beating my master up? Dong. Lin Ruobai's small fist once again greeted Ning Yuan's face. After this punch landed, Ning Yuan became dizzy and saw stars. Then, a small hand grabbed his clothes tightly and lifted him up from the ground. Come with me to see my master. In the room. Yun Luofeng sat upright on the bed with her eyes closed. After a long time, she opened her eyes and let out a breath of impure air. Back then, when I saved Whitey, the spiritual force I absorbed increased my strength to the peak of intermediate Earth Spiritualist, and I was only a step away from advanced Earth Spiritualist. I didn't think that I would come into contact with the opportunity to break through after coming to the Ning clan. I've finally advanced. Master, you can take the holy water now. With it, you will be able to advance to a celestial spirit immediately. Little Mo's childish voice came from within her soul. The holy water she was talking about was the one she had extorted from Xiaobai's father in the spirit region. Not only could the holy water help an earth spirit break through, but the quality of one's body would also be strengthened after taking it. The reason why Yun Luofeng did not consume the holy water before was because he was waiting for her to break through to the high-level earth spirit. With the help of the holy water, he became a celestial spirit warrior in one go. All right. Yun Luofeng nodded slightly. Just as he was about to take out the holy water, the door was kicked open with a bang. In an instant, Lin Ruobai entered the room with a youth in tow and threw him in front of Yun Luofeng. Master, this fellow is the fourth elder's son. Lin Ruobai walked towards Yun Luofeng as if he was asking for credit. His arrogant eyes glanced at the badly battered youth on the ground, and he snorted coldly. However, this brat's luck is bad. He actually ran into me. Let's see if he still dares to be so arrogant in the future. Lin Ruobai's little face was a little angry at the thought of what the young man had just said. When she walked past Ning Yuan, she didn't forget to kick him twice. Ahem. Ning Yuan coughed dryly and raised his head to stare angrily at Yun Luofeng. If it wasn't for Yun Qingya's appearance, Ning Xen would have already married me. It was your Yun family who stole my wife. I will definitely be irreconcilable with you. Hearing the youth's words, Yun Luofeng stood up from the bed and looked down at him with his pitch-black eyes. Chapter 470. Are you sure? Without my second uncle's appearance, Ning Xen would have chosen to marry you? The young girl's words were like a wooden thorn that ruthlessly pierced into his heart. In an instant, a large hole appeared in his heart. Blood flowed out, and he was in so much pain that he could not extricate himself. She was right. Even if Xianxia did not appear, Ning Xen would not like him. Otherwise, why would they be snatched away by a Xianxia who had just appeared after so many years of being childhood sweethearts? However, even if Ning Yuan knew this, he still did not want this wound to be torn open by someone in such a manner. Heh. He sneered, and the corners of his lips curled up into a mocking smile. So what if Xener doesn't like me? As long as the patriarch gives the order, she must marry even if she doesn't want to. Do you think the patriarch will choose to marry your Yun family? You're wrong. Even if you save Xener's life, the patriarch will not marry her to you. The difference between the patriarch and the old patriarch was that the old patriarch paid too much attention to personal relationships, while the patriarch focused on the overall situation. If the Ning family had other children, perhaps he wouldn't care who Ning Xen chose as her husband. However, the Ning family only had this one sole child. For the sake of the entire Ning family, he would never allow Ning Xen to marry Yun Qingya. The Yun family was simply too weak. They didn't even have a heavenly spirit realm cultivator. Not to mention a marriage alliance with the Ning family, they didn't even have the qualifications to gain a foothold on the continent. Yun Luofeng, you can't blame our Ning family for this. It's just that your strength is too weak. Haha. Ning Yuan burst into laughter at the sight of the young girl narrowing her eyes. I admit that you're very talented. Unfortunately, you're not at the level of a celestial spirit practitioner. There are too many powerful cultivators on this mainland. If you're not at the level of a celestial spirit practitioner, any organization can kill you. Your Yun family doesn't even have a heavenly spirit realm cultivator. Do you think the patriarch will hand Ning Xen over to you? Ning Yuan's face gradually turned sinister, his voice filled with hatred. Yun Luofeng narrowed his eyes and swept them over Ning Yuan. As long as Ning Xen is willing to leave with me, no one can stop her. In other words, if Ning Xen was willing to leave with her, then she would definitely take her away. No one would be able to stop her. Arrogant. Ning Yuan scoffed coldly, and a mocking look appeared in his eyes. Yun Luofeng, I know that the old master is protecting you, but he also has someone he admires. The person he worships is godly Dr. Xianxia. Speaking of this name, the sarcasm in Ning Yuan's eyes gradually dissipated and was replaced by reverence. Then, under Yun Luofeng's half-smiling gaze, he continued, This time, when I was traveling, I met a young man. He is from the Tian clan, and his name is Tian Lin. We hit it off the moment we met and became sworn brothers. I even told him about Ning Xen and I. He admires Ning Xen. This time, we heard that Ning Xen was injured, so I rushed back to the Ning family first. However, he will be here soon. He even promised me that he would let Dr. Xianxia treat Ning Xen. If I managed to invite the divine Dr. Xianxia over, the Ning clan would look up to me even more. Furthermore, if I managed to cure Ning Xen's illness, Ning Xen might even fall in love with me. I never thought that you damned girl, would beat me to it. Ning Yuan said hatefully, but that doesn't matter. Wait for my brother to arrive. He will definitely help me and Ning Xen. Moreover, the old master admires Dr. Xianxia so much. If the godly doctor is willing to speak up for me, do you think that the old master will still protect you? Chapter 471. Yun Luofeng glanced at Ning Yuan and his lips curled into a smile. The Tian family? It seems that no matter where I go, I will meet people from the Tian family. Milk Tea, look after him. Don't let him escape before Ning Xen wakes up. Squeak squeak. Milk Tea nodded with all her might. Milk Tea would always complete the task given to her by her master meticulously. Xiaobai, come with me. I want to meet the Ning family head and discuss Ning Xen's matter. Yun Luofeng narrowed his eyes slightly. At this time, Ning Xen was about to wake up. It was time for her to settle the matter with the Ning family. Patriarch, Patriarch. In the study filled with the fragrance of books, Patriarch Ning was flipping through the books in his hands. Suddenly, a hurried voice came from outside the door. Without waiting for him to respond, the person broke through the door and entered. What happened? Why are you so flustered? Did something happen to the family again? Patriarch Ning frowned and asked sternly. Patriarch, it's like this. People from the Tian family have come to visit and say that they want to see you. The servant wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and reported with a trembling voice. Tian family? You mean the Tian family where Xianxia is? Patriarch Ning was stunned for a moment, and a hint of joy flashed through his eyes. Did they say why they are here? The servant carefully glanced at Patriarch Ning. It's young Master Tian Lin from the Tian family. He has come to propose marriage. Propose marriage? Patriarch Ning was stunned for a moment and frowned. The object of the proposal is Miss Ning Xen. What? As the servant's words fell, Patriarch Ning was completely shocked. He really could not think of a time when Ning Xen had a conflict with the Tian family. If it was in the past, Patriarch Ning would probably accept it happily. But now, because Yun Luofeng was here, he had no choice but to think. To be honest, Patriarch Ning had never thought of marrying Ning Xen to Yun Qingya. However, Ning Xen's illness was cured by Yun Luofeng after all. If he married Ning Xen at this time, he was afraid that he would never be able to face Yun Luofeng again. This is not going to be easy. Patriarch Ning rubbed his temples with a headache. If Yun Luofeng wasn't here, it would be fine, but she is still in the Ning family. I don't know how to ask. Patriarch. The servant timidly looked towards Patriarch Ning. This subordinate doesn't know if he should say something? Feel free to speak your mind. It's like this. Patriarch, you don't need to feel embarrassed about marrying off the young miss, and you don't need to feel ashamed in front of the Yun family. In this matter, the Ning family has never done anything wrong. Even if Yun Luofeng cured the young miss, so what? Without the Yun family, First Miss would not have been injured. This servant's words made Master Ning feel a little better. He nodded in agreement. Not bad, your analysis is very good. What is your name? Go to the butler later to receive your reward. Thank you, Patriarch. The servant was overjoyed and hurriedly knelt down to express his gratitude. His expression became even more respectful. Let's go. I will go and meet the Tian family. The corner of Ning family head's lips curled up into a smile. He was right. Ning Xen was injured in order to save Yun Qingya. Shouldn't it be natural for Yun Luofeng to save her now? There was no need for him to feel any guilt towards the Yun family. Who told the Yun family to not even have a heavenly spirit realm cultivator? At this time, in the hall, a few guards were carrying the betrothal box and standing respectfully. On the seats beside them, there were two young men and women quietly sipping tea. Chapter 472. If Yun Luofeng was here, he would recognize the woman sitting next to him. She was Tian Ke, the woman who had gone to the Long Yuan country's royal family in an attempt to take Mu Wushuang away. The man beside her was no longer the calm and steady Tian Yu, but someone else. But this person's eyebrows were somewhat similar to hers. At this moment, they saw a middle-aged man walking in from outside the hall. He slowly stood up from his chair. Master Ning. Tian Ke's lips curled into a smile. This time, I'm here for my brother, Tian Lin. I heard that the eldest young lady of the Ning family, Ning Xen, is extremely talented, beautiful and dignified. She has a gentle temperament, making it difficult for the other ladies. So, ever since my brother heard of Ning Xen's reputation, he has set his heart on her. This time, I'm here to form a marriage alliance with the Ning family. From now on, our Tian and Ning family will be one family. Master Ning laughed heartily and turned his kind eyes to Tian Lin. I've also heard of young Master Tian Lin, the second strongest in the younger generation of the Tian family. It's Xen heir's honor to have found such a husband. I approve of this marriage. I don't agree. Just as Master Ning finished speaking, an angry voice came from outside the door. After hearing this voice, Master Ning's expression changed and a hint of surprise appeared on his face. His eyes turned to the door. Suddenly, a young girl holding the door frame appeared in front of him. At the same time, Tianlin's gaze fell on the young girl standing at the door. His eyes were filled with infatuation. Even though the young girl's face was pale, it couldn't hide her beautiful face. Even when she frowned, it was like a finger was tugging at the string in his heart. Ever since Ning Yuan had first mentioned Ning Xian, he couldn't help but fall in love with her. In order to show off, Ning Yuan had even taken out Ning Xian's portrait. From then on, his heart had been tied to this young girl. So, when he heard that Ning Yuan was going back to the Ning family, he let him go first while he returned to the Tian family to prepare the betrothal gifts. X and heir. Master Ning strode forward and hurriedly supported the young girl. His eyes were filled with joy. "You're awake? That's great, you're finally alright. You've scared me to death. Let me go." Ning Xen pushed the man in front of her away from her. Her clear eyes were filled with disappointment. "Father, does grandfather know that you're treating me like this?" Originally, when she woke up, she found that there was no one beside her. Then, she called for a servant girl and found out that Yun Luofeng had saved her life. Yun Xianxia had accompanied her for many days without rest. However, Yun Xianxia had just gone out to pee, so she woke up and did not see the man. However, just as she was about to wait for Yun Xianxia to return, she heard the discussion of a maid outside the door, claiming that someone from the Tian family had come to escort the bride. Because of this, she had hurriedly come alone to reject this marriage. "Xin heir, I'm doing this for your own good." Clan head Ning frowned. "The Tian family has Xianxia. If you were to marry someone from the Tian family, it would be the same as having blood relations with Xianxia. If your grandfather were to know about this, he wouldn't stop this marriage." "What do you mean for my own good? You're doing this for the Ning family." Ning Xian clenched her fists tightly. Her pale face was filled with stubbornness. "If it was grandfather, she would let me choose my own happiness. She would never force me to marry someone I don't love. If it weren't for your indecisiveness back then, how could mother have been killed?" Chapter 473. Slap. A crisp sound rang out in the hall. The entire hall fell into an eerie silence because of the sound of the slap. It was so quiet that a suffocating atmosphere filled the hall. Exit. Master Ning looked at his hand and then at the blushing Ning Exit. His eyes were filled with vexation and heartache. "Father, just now, am I wrong?" The corners of Ning Xian's lips curl up into a mocking smile. Her disheveled hair falls to the side of her face, covering the bright red handprint. "It was because of your indecisiveness that caused mother to be killed by another woman. So what if you disband your own family in the end? My mother's life can no longer be saved. You keep saying that you're doing this for my own good, but unfortunately, you've never understood what I really want. Could it be that after so many years, you still haven't come to your senses?" Patriarch Ning opened his mouth and wanted to explain, but his throat seemed to be squeezed by a hand, and he couldn't make a sound. Then, he clutched his head tightly and said in agony, "That's right, I was indeed too indecisive that year and caused your mother's death. But I've been sad for so many years. Isn't that enough? All these years, I haven't married because of you and your mother. I've done so much and you're still not willing to forgive me for what I've done?" He felt a heart-wrenching pain at the thought of what had happened all those years ago. But no matter how heartbroken he was, the woman he loved could never return to his side. "You've always been thinking about the family, but you've never thought about my mother and me. What we want has never been absolute power or supreme status. I just want to live like an ordinary person." Ning Xen closed her eyes in disappointment and smiled bitterly. "Unfortunately, you only know how to do things that I can't tolerate in the name of doing what's best for me. All these years, grandfather and I have been running all over the place because we didn't want to see you. Even living in seclusion in the mountains is better than facing people like you." When she said the last sentence, she suddenly opened her eyes. Her bright eyes were filled with determination, causing family head Ning's heart to suddenly tremble. "That's right. I'm indeed thinking for the sake of the clan. Is that wrong?" Clan head Ning smiled bitterly. "Who asked me to be the clan head? I will fight for the Ning family. Plus, your grandfather has always worshipped godly Dr. Xianxia. If he knew that you wanted to marry into the Tian family, he wouldn't reject." Ning Exen sneered and shot a cold glare at Tian Lin, who was staring at her in a daze. I told you I won't marry anyone else. Even if I die, I will never let the Tian family get my corpse. Do. Master Ning pointed a finger at Ning Exen angrily. Exen, you're really too immature. Let me tell you, today you must marry someone from the Tian family. As the head of the Ning family, even if he was reluctant to part with his daughter, he had to fight for more benefits for the family. This was the sorrow of being a family head. Just like how he had caused the death of his beloved woman, Ning Xian's lips curled into a smile and her eyes filled with disdain. She took one last look at Master Ning before she turned around and walked towards the door. At this moment, her heart was filled with disappointment. Don't go. Seeing that Ning Exan was about to leave, Tian Lin's expression changed and he hurriedly said, Hurry and stop her. Chapter 474. Yes, young master. The members of the Tian clan answered one after another and quickly rushed towards Ning Exan, wanting to stop her from leaving. Scram! Ning Exan shouted loudly. Suddenly, a burst of spiritual energy erupted from her body, forcing the guards who had extended their hands towards her to take a few steps back. Ning Exan. Seeing Ning Exan attack the members of the Tian clan, the Ning family head turned pale with fright. Just as he was about to reprimand her, he saw the young girl's body fall towards the ground. Exan. Master Ning no longer cared about reprimanding Ning Exan and hurriedly stepped forward to pull Ning Exan back. However, just as he was about to step forward, a hand reached out to catch the young girl's body and pulled her into a tight embrace. The man's black hair fluttered in the wind, and his crescent robe fluttered slightly. His handsome face was cold as he stared coldly at the Ning family head in front of him. Big brother Yun. Ning Exan was startled. Her eyes quietly stared at the elegant man beside her, and her voice unconsciously choked with sobs. Facing her father's aggressiveness, she did not feel wronged, but now that she saw Yun Xianxia, all of her grievances surged into her heart. She could not help but tightly grab onto the corner of his clothes. Yun Xianxia's gaze fell on the young girl's flushed cheeks. His slender fingers gently brushed past her hair as he said in a slightly helpless tone, Why didn't you wait for me and ran out of the room by yourself? Although his words were filled with reproach, it still could not hide the doting tone of the man's words. Suddenly, Ning Exan could no longer hold back her tears, and they flowed down her cheeks. I'm sorry, big brother Yun, you have nothing to do with me. If it wasn't for you, I'm afraid the one who would be heavily injured in bed would be me. Yun Xianxia smiled faintly. His smile was like a blooming green lotus, making people feel happy. Bang! After Tianka looked at the person who came with Yun Xianxia, she suddenly stood up. Even the chair behind her was accidentally overturned by her. Her eyes were filled with anger. It's you! Tianku gritted her teeth hatefully. Yun Luofeng, it really is a narrow road for enemies. I didn't expect to meet you here. Previously, you were pregnant with my good deed, yet you still dared to deliver it to me. Hearing Tianku's words, Clan Head Ning was a little surprised. Could it be that Yun Luofeng had some grudges with the Tian family? In that case, it would be even more difficult to deal with. Yun Luofeng glanced at Tianka evilly. I was the one who came to the Ning family first. According to what you said, you were the one who delivered yourself to my doorstep to be beaten up by me. Yun Luofeng. Last time, if it wasn't for the fact that Tianyu had an urgent matter to attend to and had to leave, do you think you could have escaped from us? In reality, the last time, Tianyu had pulled Tianku away in a hurry because she had felt threatened by Yun Xiao. However, under such circumstances, Tianku would never say such a thing. Hence, she came up with such an excuse. Since I can make you flee once, there will be a second time. Ning Xian is my future second aunt. I want to see who can take her away. As she spoke, the girl's domineering aura was fully displayed, and her eyes were filled with arrogance and arrogance. Ning Xian's originally nervous heart miraculously calmed down when she saw Yun Luofeng and Yun Xianxia appear. Of these two people, one was her most trusted friend, and the other was the man she liked. She believed that as long as they were here, no matter what kind of difficulty it was, it would be easily solved. Miss Yun, Clan Head Ning frowned. A hint of worry could be seen in his eyes. The Tian family has Xianxia behind them. It's better if you don't get into a dispute with them. Apologize, and I will plead for you to let the Tian family let you off. Chapter 475. Even though Patriarch Ning would not let Ning Exan marry Xianxia, Yun Luofeng had saved Ning Xian's life. He did not want anything to happen to the Yun family. The Tian family was different from the medical city. Xianxia was too powerful. If she offended that old man, no one could protect her. Why should my master apologize? Xiaobai, who had just arrived, heard Patriarch Ning's words. She angrily put her hands on her hips and her cute little face flushed red. You ignorant people, even if Xianxia comes, you have to call my master master. You actually dare to ask my master to apologize? Tianku could not hold it in and laughed out loud. Her eyes were full of mockery. Little girl, didn't your parents tell you that if you boast, your tongue will be cut off? If you said that Yun Luofeng acknowledged Xianxia as his master, I might have believed it. But you dare to say that Xianxia also has to call her master? Do you think we're stupid? Would we believe such nonsense? Hearing this, the crowd began to ridicule Lin Ruobai, their eyes filled with disdain as they looked at him. Yun Luofeng also looked at Lin Ruobai in surprise. A hint of contemplation appeared in his dark eyes. Xiaobai was not someone who would boast. Since she said such words, there must be a reason. But she did not know Xianxia, so how could she take him in as a disciple? Speaking of taking in a disciple, there was once an old man who claimed that he wanted to take her as his master. Could it be, I'm telling the truth? Right now, Xianxia is on his way. He will reach the Ning family soon. Lin Ruobai stomped her foot and said angrily. Her master was afraid that it would be too late to call for reinforcements, and she was worried that her master would be bullied by the Ning family, so she secretly sent a message to Xianxia. Now that so much time had passed, with Xianxia's speed he should be able to reach the Ning family soon. Little brat, in order to study medicine, Xianxia had long found a secluded place to hide, not allowing anyone to disturb him. Even my Tian family doesn't know his exact location, yet you're able to find him? Tianku sneered, such a lie, do you think we'll believe it? Lin Ruobai curled her lips, you can't find Xianxia because he doesn't want you to find him. It doesn't mean that I can't find him either. Her words made Tianku's expression change greatly, and her eyes burned with anger. Little girl, if you continue to spout nonsense, I'll tear your mouth apart. Xianxia is a member of our Tian family. How could he not wish for us to find him? Let me tell you, just 2 months ago, Xianxia returned to the Tian family. 2 months ago? Lin Ruobai laughed lightly. I'm sorry, 2 months ago, Xianxia was a guest at my house. You actually said that he went back to the Tian family? Seeing that her lie was seen through, Tianku flew into a rage out of humiliation. Of course, she would never admit that Xianxia had been to this lass's house. She would only think that this little girl was deliberately going against her. Damned girl, you're too presumptuous. I'll never forgive you. Tianku's body stirred up a fierce gust of wind, and her body instantly rushed towards Lin Ruobai, her eyes filled with thick killing intent. Looking at this scene, family head Ning helplessly shook his head. If Yun Luofeng obediently apologized, he might be able to plead for leniency. Unfortunately, this pair of master and disciple were too arrogant, and he could not do anything. After all, if Xianxia fancied Yun Luofeng's talent and wanted to take her as his disciple, it would be somewhat believable. But to say that divine Dr. Xianxia wanted to take a little girl in her teens as his master, was that possible? Chapter 476. Thump. Just as Tianku was about to reach Lin Ruobai, a hand suddenly reached out from the side and pulled Lin Ruobai's body into an embrace. A slender, jade-like palm then landed on Tianku's chest. With just one move, Tianku's body was thrown out of the way and slammed fiercely onto the table. The table broke into 2 pieces and fell to the ground. The entire hall fell silent. Everyone's eyes stared unblinkingly at the peerlessly beautiful young girl in snow-white robes, dumbstruck. The young girl furrowed her brows and lowered her head to look at the little girl in her arms. She then asked, "Are you hurt?" Lin Ruobai stared at the domineering and peerlessly beautiful figure in front of her. Her heart unconsciously calmed down and her eyes became a little dazed. If her master was a man, no one in the world would not be moved by her. Unfortunately, she's a woman. However, Lin Ruobai made a decision in her heart. If she were to find a man in the future, she would use her master as her standard. This kind of domineering and gentle person, who could resist her charm? I'm fine. Lin Ruobai returned to her senses and shook her head. Her adorable little face lit up with a brilliant smile. Besides, I know that with you here, master, no one can hurt me. Wait for me at the side, I'll take care of things here. After Yun Luofeng had spoken, his jet-black eyes turned towards Tianku, who was crawling up from the ground. Yun Luofeng. Tianku gritted her teeth hatefully and spat out a mouthful of blood. She glared angrily at the young girl's peerlessly beautiful face. Ever since she had left Long Yuan country, she had returned to the Tian family and had been cultivating tirelessly. Now, she had broken through to the mid-stage of the earth martial artist. Initially, she had thought that based on her power, she would be able to crush Yun Luofeng. However, who would have thought that this young girl would only need to use one palm to push her back? Wouldn't this make her lose all her dignity? How could she tolerate such humiliation? Go to hell for me. Ha! Suddenly, a powerful energy surged from her body. This energy continued to rise until it reached the peak of the mid-stage of the earth martial artist. Then, it broke through to the high level of the earth martial artist. Sister. Tian Lin's expression changed when he saw Tianku's actions. You used the Tian family's secret skill to increase your strength? Once the effect of the secret skill wears off, your rank will drop to a low-level earth spirit. This is the side effect of the Tian family's secret technique. If one used the secret skill, although one could instantly break through a level, after a period of time, not only would the user return to their original position, but they would also drop a level. Therefore, under normal circumstances, no one would use secret skills. Yun Luofeng, I didn't think that a general's granddaughter like you would be able to reach the earth spirit realm without any conditions. The threat you pose to me is too great. Today, I must kill you here. Even though both of them were high-level earth spiritualists, Tianku was very confident. There was no other reason. After using this secret skill, not only would he instantly break through a level, it would also allow one's physical fitness to reach the peak. Unless Yun Luofeng was a heavenly spirit cultivator, she was definitely not his opponent. One needs to note that the Tian family's secret technique doesn't increase the user's strength for a short period of time. It was a real breakthrough. A short-term increase in strength was illusory. There was no actual breakthrough to become stronger. However, the similarity between the two was that there would be a limit. After reaching a certain point in time, the user would return to their original position, accompanied by a strong side effect. Chapter 477. Boom. Tianku's body was like a tornado, sweeping towards Yun Luofeng with all her might. A sinister smile appeared on her face, and her eyes revealed a cold, killing intent. Under the strong wind, the young girl's white clothes and black hair fluttered in the wind. Her eyes quietly stared at the incoming Tianku, and no emotion could be seen on her beautiful face. Feng, be careful. Xianxia turned pale with fright. She hurriedly let go of Ning Exen in her arms and flew towards Yun Luofeng. His cold eyes contained a hint of anxiety, and he was just about to rush in front of Yun Luofeng to block this attack for her. But at this moment, the young girl's hand reached out from the side and pushed Xianxia away. She looked at the furious Tianku with a calm expression. The corners of her lips curled up slightly, forming a demonic smile. Her voice seemed to come from hell, causing one's heart to tremble. When did I say that I was a high-level earth spirit warrior? What? Tianku was stunned for a moment. Before she could understand the meaning of Yun Luofeng's words, the young girl's hand had already slapped her face from the air. Bang! This slap used all of her strength. The stunned Tianku was sent flying by this slap. Her body slammed into the wall, and blood continuously flowed out of her mouth. No. Impossible. How can you be a heavenly spirit warrior? This is impossible. She bit her lips tightly, her delicate body trembling uncontrollably. Her eyes clearly contained a hint of fear. Heavenly spirit warrior? This. Everyone couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. Even the way they looked at Yun Luofeng changed. Your friend is a heavenly spirit warrior? The Ning family head turned to his heart in a daze and asked with a dry throat. To be honest, to the Ning family, the heavenly spirit realm was nothing. After all, the elders of the Ning family had already reached the heavenly spirit realm. And the family head was even above the heavenly spirit realm. However, how old was Yun Luofeng? A 15-year-old girl had already become a heavenly spirit realm? Who would believe it? Ning Xian nodded in a daze. Even she did not expect that Yun Luofeng had already reached the heavenly spirit realm. She remembered that half a year ago, she was still an ordinary girl who was bullied by the royal family. Now, less than a year had passed and she had become so powerful. As long as a faction had a heavenly spirit practitioner, they would be able to gain a firm foothold in the continent. Even his father would have to acknowledge the Yun family from then on. However, it was too late for him to admit it. His heart had been broken. How could he face her in peace? A bitter smile appeared on Ning Xian's face as she thought of this. Little Feng. Yun Xianxia gradually recovered from her shock and asked helplessly, "When did you become a heavenly spirit realm cultivator without making a sound?" Yun Luofeng shrugged his shoulders and said with a faint smile, "On the way to the Ning family hall. She was here because of Ning Xian. If she did not have absolute power, why would the Ning family let Ning Xian go? Therefore, when she headed to the hall, she found a secluded place and drank the holy water. With the holy water, she successfully broke through to become a celestial spirit warrior. This was also the reason why she was late." Cough cough. Tianku coughed dryly twice and crawled up from the ground. Her ferocious gaze turned towards Yun Luofeng as she gritted her teeth and said, "Yun Luofeng, you really aren't afraid of death. My Tian family has the backing of Tianya. If you hurt me, you won't be far from death." Chapter 478. Tianya. These two words made family head Ning come back to his senses. That's right, so what if Yun Luofeng had broken through to the heavenly spirit realm? The Tian family's backer was Tianya. No matter how talented Yun Luofeng was, he would not be able to face such a powerful opponent. "Master Ning, get your Ning family members to capture this damned girl. I want her to have a taste of what it's like to wish for death." Tianku wiped the blood from the corner of her lips and spoke hatefully. "This?" Master Ning was stunned and frowned. "Miss Tianku, that's not very appropriate. Miss Yun is my daughter's savior and she has a close relationship with my father. I'm afraid, I don't care what relationship she has with your Ning family. You must capture her. Otherwise, I will charge your Ning family with the crime of shielding her." Tianku smiled coldly at Yun Luofeng. "So what if you're talented? You will still die under the attacks of the Ning family's experts. This is the consequence of making me your enemy time and time again." Master Ning fell silent. His expression was hesitant as if he was still thinking about Tianku's words. Just then, Ning Xian dragged her frail body in front of Yun Luofeng. She raised her arms and shielded the young girl behind her. She stared at Master Ning with stubborn determination. "Father, if you want to touch the people of the Yun family, then kill me as well. In your eyes, a daughter like me will never be as important as the Ning family." Master Ning's heart trembled. He opened his mouth to say something but was interrupted by Ning Xian's cold voice. "You're a good master but you're not a good father." Her voice was like a heavy hammer that hammered into Master Ning's heart, making him feel suffocated. "You're right." Master Ning laughed bitterly. "I'm not a good father nor a good husband. I've sacrificed too much for the Ning family and I've lost too much." There was a bitter smile on his face as he stared in a daze at the young girl's determined little face. "I had originally thought that my closest kin would understand me. However, I was wrong. You will never be able to understand my feelings." Tianku frowned in dissatisfaction when she heard the Ning father and daughter's words. "What are you waiting for? Hurry up and kill them all." "Sister." Tian Lin's expression changed and he grabbed Tianku's arm anxiously. "I like Ning Xian, I want to marry her, so, shut up." Tianku glared at Tian Lin. "Have you not woken up yet? That bitch Ning Xian would rather be with the Yun family than to be part of our Tian family. Since she has made such a choice, then let them go to hell together." Tian Lin had never dared to defy his sister since he was young. When he heard Tian Ku's words, he immediately shut his mouth and did not say another word. He only looked at Ning Xian with pity and reluctance. He, who do you want to send to hell? Suddenly, an indifferent voice tore through the sky and entered into the ears of everyone. Ning Xian's heart leaped with joy when she heard the familiar voice. She quickly turned around and looked at the green-robed old man who had stepped through the void. She felt a lump in her throat and tears flowed down uncontrollably. "Grandfather, you're back." Elder Ning walked towards Ning Xian in a few steps. His calm eyes stared at the clear handprint on the young girl's face. He frowned and asked, "Who did this?" Chapter 479. Even though the old man's words were indifferent, one could still hear the uncontrollable anger in his tone. Master Ning trembled and said timidly, "Father, it's me." Slap. Just as he finished speaking, the old man's palm swung towards his face. Instantly, the crisp sound of a slap rang out in the quiet living room. How could Master Ning compare to Elder Ning's strength? The slap caused his face to swell and a trace of fresh blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. "These days, when I wasn't in the Ning family, is this how you treated Xen?" Elder Ning's eyes were spitting fire and his face was livid. "Xen has suffered so much all these years, yet you still hit her. I couldn't even bear to touch her, yet you beat her up like this. If it wasn't for the fact that my body had problems back then and I couldn't manage the family, I would never have passed the position of master to you." Master Ning covered his face and felt wronged. "Father, aren't I doing this for the Ning family?" "For the Ning family?" Bang! Elder Ning was so angry that he directly kicked his son's body away. His old face was cold and solemn, and his gaze was as sharp as a sword. His expression was as if he wanted to kick his son a few more times. "How dare you say it's for the Ning family? I've only been away for half a year to seek medical treatment, and so many things have happened to the Ning family. Ning Xian's mother has also died because of your mistake. In the end, you're saying it's all for the Ning family?" Master Ning didn't dare to say another word in order to avoid being beaten again. After he got up from the ground, he timidly hid to the side and looked even more wronged. Until now, he still didn't think he was in the wrong. He just felt that his father and daughter didn't understand his actions. As family, shouldn't they support him? "Grandfather." Ning Xian walked forward and gently placed her palm on the old man's chest to calm his anger. "Don't be angry, we don't get angry with people like this." The girl's clear voice seemed to have magic, restoring the old man's calm. He turned to his precious granddaughter and said gently, "Exith, tell grandfather, what have you been wronged recently? Grandfather will get it back for you." Ning Xian paused and said, "Fourth elder injured big brother Yun." Her first sentence was not to complain for herself, but to put Yun Qingya's matter first. "I know about this. I'll settle the score with the fourth elder later." Elder Ning sneered. "He even dared to lay his hands on my grandson-in-law. This is clearly insubordination, unforgivable." Patriarch Ning was stunned. He widened his eyes in astonishment and asked in a trembling voice, "Father, what did you just say? You agreed to let Ning Xian marry Yun Qingya?" This Yun Qingya was the young master of a general's mansion, yet Elder Ning actually approved of him? "I approve of him, but I don't know if he is willing to marry Xian. If he is willing, Ning Xian will be his wife." In other words, if Yun Qingya was unwilling to marry Ning Xian, he would not force her. If he was willing, then no one would be able to stop them. If it was any other man, as long as Ning Xian liked it, he would snatch it away and give it to her. But the Yun family was different. With his relationship with Yun Luofeng, he wouldn't do such a thing. Furthermore, with Ning Xian's personality, she wouldn't marry a man who didn't love her. Chapter 480. Therefore, whether or not the two of them could succeed would depend on themselves. The head of the Ning family was completely shocked. The old man actually claimed that if Yun Qingya wanted to marry Ning Xian, then he would immediately marry Ning Xian to him? If he didn't want to, he wouldn't force it? Was this still the old man of the Ning family who had always been protective? Don't look at this old man's calm appearance. In reality, he still doted on his granddaughter, Ning Xian. But he would rather wronged his own granddaughter than force Yun Qingya to marry her? The head of the Ning family really couldn't figure out what was so special about the Yun family that the old man would treat them like this. Are you guys done arguing? Tianke looked at Elder Ning coldly and said, I don't care what grudges you two have. Today, I will definitely kill Yun Luofeng. You better help me achieve this goal. Otherwise, you will regret it in the future. Elder Ning chuckled indifferently. His eyes were calm as he said, the Yun girl can be considered as my granddaughter. If you want to lay a finger on her, I will definitely not allow it. Father. Seeing his father's stiff tone, the head of the Ning family couldn't help but feel anxious. Miss Tianku is a member of the Tian family, the Tian family that Xianxia is from. So what? Elder Ning glanced at the head of the Ning family. If you can't protect your daughter, then let this old man personally protect her. Patriarch Ning's expression became more and more anxious. He really didn't know what the old man had taken the wrong medicine. In the past, the person he revered the most was Xianxia, but now, for Yun Luofeng, he had given up on the person he had revered for so long? Of course, the head of the Ning family did not know what Elder Ning was thinking. He worshipped Xianxia because of his superb medical skills, but now, after getting to know Yun Luofeng, he believed that this young girl's level in the future would not be lower than Tianya's. For this, what was the pity in giving up on the Tian family? Ning Xian tightly grabbed Elder Ning's arm and stood beside him with peace of mind. There was no fear on her beautiful face, and her bright eyes were filled with stubbornness. Father, Ning family head's expression became more and more anxious. He was afraid that the old man's words would provoke the Tian family, especially when he saw that Tianke's face was getting uglier and uglier. He hurriedly said, the people from the Tian family are not to be trifled with. Don't drag the Ning family down with you. I think we should quickly apologize to the Tian family and marry Ning Xian to young Master Tian Lin. At that time, we will be in-laws with the Tian family. Shut up. Old man Ning shot a sharp look at family head Ning. I will never trade my granddaughter's happiness for power. Not to mention, others might not know, but he had heard that Tianya had a falling out with the Tian family. Although he wasn't sure if Tianya still had contact with the Tian family, it was impossible to restore their previous relationship. Even if Tianya would protect the Tian family, he wouldn't send out his granddaughter just because of this. Since you insist, don't regret it. Tianke's eyes darkened. She knew that with Elder Ning here, it would be impossible for her to kill Yun Luofeng. Hence, after saying this, she pulled Tian Lin and walked out of the hall. When he walked past Yun Luofeng, his arrogant eyes gradually swept over her. He said expressionlessly, Yun Luofeng, the enmity between us is too great. The next time we meet, I will make sure you die without a place to bury your body. Tian Lin, let's go. Tian Lin's eyes were still filled with reluctance. He glanced at Ning Xian. He wanted to stay, but after meeting his sister's gaze, he retracted his reluctant gaze. Chapter 481. Did I say you could leave? Before the two of them could step over the threshold, a voice that sounded as if it had come from hell suddenly rang out. It made their entire bodies turn cold and their feet seemed to be rooted to the ground, unable to move a single step. Tianke's face was as white as snow, but the arrogance in her eyes did not diminish. She turned towards Yun Luofeng. What do you want? You want to kill me, right? Yun Luofeng raised an eyebrow and smiled devilishly. So what if I do? Tianke snorted and replied proudly. Nothing much. Hearing her answer, Yun Luofeng yawned lazily and leaned against the doorsill. His smiling black eyes landed on Tianke. However, I have a rule. If you want to kill me, you must leave your own life behind. The young girl's words were arrogant and egotistical. She treated the members of the Tian family as fish on a chopping board, waiting to be slaughtered. Tianke's expression changed once again. Yun Luofeng, don't push your luck. This time, Yun Luofeng did not say another word. His white robes flashed like a gentle breeze and he appeared in front of Tianke. You. Tianke turned pale with fright and hurriedly stepped back. However, before she could evade, an ice-cold hand grabbed her neck. Instantly, a suffocating feeling entered her heart. Tianke's originally pale face turned red and her eyes widened. She could not even say a word. Seeing that his sister had fallen into Yun Luofeng's hands, Tian Lin's eyes flashed with terror. He could not help but shuffle backwards, trying to sneak away while Yun Luofeng was not paying attention. He regretted it. He regretted rudely coming to propose marriage and bumping into a crazy woman who did not even place the Tian family in her eyes. Now, he must hurry back to the Tian family and find someone to avenge his sister. Just as Tian Lin turned to leave, his body suddenly crashed into a body. That body seemed to have an extremely powerful force which caused him to stumble a few steps back. Sigh, youngsters these days really have no sense of civility. Didn't you see an old man appear? You actually bumped into this old bag of bones. If my old bones were to fall apart, you'll have to pay for it. An elderly voice rang out from above. The accusation in that voice made Tian Lin extremely angry. Just as he was about to lose his temper, he froze when he saw the old man. You are Uncle Xianxia? With Tian Lin's age, he didn't recognize Xianxia. However, there was a portrait of Xianxia hanging in the Tian family. Therefore, he recognized the little old man in front of him at a glance. Young man, don't randomly claim relatives. I don't have any nephews. The little old man curled his lips and subconsciously distanced himself from Tian Lin. A blunder, truly a blunder. Why didn't that girl Xiaobai tell him that these idiots from the Tian family are also here? It seemed like he would be entangled by these people again in the future. However, after seeing the scene in the hall, Tianxia was stunned. He blinked his eyes in astonishment. What's going on? Someone from the Tian family provoked Yun Luofeng? How dare they? A raging flame surged from the little old man's body and a murderous glint gradually appeared in his eyes. He understood Yun Luofeng's character very well. If it wasn't for the Tian family provoking her, she wouldn't have hurt them. Moreover, he had ignored the Tian family for so many years and attracted these people to be lawless. Now, they even dared to bully Yun Luofeng? Uncle Xianxia, I am Tian Lin from the Tian family. My sister is being bullied by a crazy woman. Please help us kill that woman. Tian Lin thought that Xianxia didn't know that he was from the Tian family and hurriedly explained himself. Then he shouted towards the hall. Sister, Uncle Xianxia is here. We're saved. Chapter 482. Xianxia? After hearing Tian Lin's words, Tian Ke's originally despaired heart was rekindled. The corners of her lips curled into a pleased smile. Bang! Yun Luofeng flung her hand and flung Tian Ke's body away. Then, her gaze gradually turned towards the little old man at the door. The little old man had wanted to greet Yun Luofeng first before settling the score with the people from the Tian family. However, he had just taken a step when a wretched figure quickly rushed out of the hall and knelt in front of him with a thud, hugging his thigh tightly. Uncle Xianxia, you're finally here. This woman is extremely audacious and doesn't respect the Tian family at all. Please avenge us, Uncle Xianxia. At that moment, Tian Ke was not in the mood to consider why Xianxia had appeared in the Ning family. She only knew that this time, no one would be able to protect that bitch Yun Luofeng. She would definitely die without a burial. As if she could already predict Yun Luofeng's fate, Tian Ke's eyes flashed with cruelty and the smile on her face became sinister. The little old man lowered his head to look down at the kneeling Tian Ke and said condescendingly, I am all alone. Little girl, it's best if you don't try to claim kinship. Otherwise, it won't be good if you cause any misunderstandings. He did not conceal the rage on his body and a powerful aura crushed towards the woman in front of him. Tian Ke raised her head in horror and said in a trembling voice, Uncle Xianxia, I am Tian Ke of the Tian family. We are family. How can you say that I'm trying to claim kinship? At that moment, a mocking voice suddenly rang out from the side. Didn't you see the godly doctor say that he doesn't know you? You still dare to shamelessly pester him. I have never seen such a shameless woman like you. Lin Ruobai placed her hands on her hips and stood next to Tian Ke. A mocking smile hung on her little face as she stared unblinkingly at Tian Ke with her big, bright eyes. Damn girl, shut up. Tian Ke flew into a rage out of humiliation and glared at Lin Ruobai. Who do you think you are, a lowly commoner? How dare you humiliate me like this? No matter what, our Tian family is still more shameless than you two. After all, We aren't like you who spoke such arrogant words, actually claiming that Xianxia also has to call Yun Luofeng master. Since this little girl had taken Yun Luofeng as her master, she probably wasn't someone with a high status. Furthermore, she had purposely used this opportunity to say what Lin Ruobai had just said. Her motive was to let Xianxia know that someone dared to impersonate his master's name. Idiot! Lin Ruobai snorted and said these two words disdainfully. Tianke was so angry that her whole body was trembling. She turned around and wanted to ask Xianxia to avenge her, but the moment she looked at Xianxia, she could not help but be stunned. This was because the old man in front of her was staring at her with a gaze filled with killing intent. Uncle Tianyu. Before she could finish her words, she was interrupted by the surging power from the old man's body. A wave of panic surged into her heart, causing her throat to become a little dry. The lowly commoner you speak of. The little old man paused, then said, is the eldest miss of Spirit Divine Mountain. Spirit Divine Mountain? Tianke's eyes widened in shock, her voice trembling even more. You, the Spirit Divine Mountain you speak of? Is it Spirit Realm's Spirit Divine Mountain? The crowd might not know of Spirit Realm's Four-Corner City, or the three great families of Spirit Realm, but everyone knew of Spirit Realm's Spirit Divine Mountain. Chapter 483. It was said that Spirit God Mountain was the territory left behind by the Spirit God. Because of this, people understood that those who could live on Spirit God Mountain were of extraordinary status. Even so, there were still people who wanted to go to Spirit God Mountain to investigate. But without a doubt, no one who entered Spirit God Mountain ever came back. As time passed, no one dared to have any ideas about Spirit God Mountain. And because of this, the people of Spirit God Mountain became gods in the eyes of the world. But now, Xianxia actually told her that this lowly commoner was the eldest miss of Spirit God Mountain? Impossible! How could the eldest miss of Spirit God Mountain recognize Yun Luofeng as her master? Yun Luofeng is just a secular person. There is no way she could have any relationship with a force like Spirit God Mountain. Not to mention Tianku, even the others were looking at Xianxia in astonishment. The head of the Ning family, in particular, suddenly had a bad feeling in his heart. That feeling made his heart flustered. If this old man really was Xianxia, then his words could not be false. In other words, Yun Luofeng and the Master of Spirit Realm had an unbreakable connection. If you really had the backing of the Master of Spirit Realm, then your status, Yun Luofeng, would definitely increase by hundreds of times. Excuse me, the little old man laughed coldly and said something shocking. That girl Xiaobai is right. Even when I see the Yun girl, I have to call her master. The old man's words were like a bolt of lightning, crashing down and causing the originally noisy hall to become silent. Everyone's bodies stiffened, as if they were still in a state of shock from these words. Yun Luofeng was Xianxia's master? What the little girl said just now was all true. It was laughable that they had treated her as an exaggeration. Uncle Xianxia, how could she be your master? Tianku's expression turned crazy, and she pointed angrily at Yun Luofeng. Her status is low, and she can't be compared to people like us. Especially since her power is not as strong as yours, why is she your master? She did not believe that Xianxia, who even the Tian family wanted to curry favor with, was Yun Luofeng's disciple. Her medical skills are better than mine. With one sentence, she pushed Yun Luofeng's status to the highest point. This was also the first time that Xianxia admitted that his medical skills were inferior to others in front of everyone. Tianku crawled up from the ground, staggered, and fell to the ground again. At this moment, her heart was filled with cold despair, and even her teeth couldn't help but shiver. So, Yun Luofeng had long known Xianxia, which was why he dared to not put the people of the Tian family in his eyes. It was laughable that she had used Xianxia to threaten her. The more Tianku thought about it, the more afraid she became. Her body trembled even more violently. She could not help but hate Tianlin. If it wasn't for him, she wouldn't have ended up in this state. At the same time, the Ning family head was gripped with regret. He never would have thought that the Tian family that he thought he had clung onto was just an empty shell, and that Yun Luofeng, whom he had given up on, had such a powerful backer. If he had known earlier, he would have let Ning Xen marry Yun Qingya. When did I acknowledge you as my disciple? Yun Luofeng's body leaned lazily against the wall, and his lips curled as he said, "In spirit realm, I have already said it very clearly. You are too old and not suitable to be my disciple." The people who had been scared silly by Xianxia's words after hearing Yun Luofeng's voice were completely stunned. Godly Dr. Xianxia wanted to take her as his master, and she refused? Chapter 484. The little old man looked at Yun Luofeng with hidden bitterness. "There are so many people here, you should at least leave me some face." His expression was one of grievance. If someone who did not know the truth saw it, they would think that Yun Luofeng had done something unforgivable. "I'm just speaking the truth." Yun Luofeng spread his hands. "If you came here to reminisce, I'll talk to you after I'm done with this." "Then you'd better hurry." The little old man pursed his lips. His attitude towards Yun Luofeng was completely different from Tian Ku's. As for these two people from the Tian family, you can do whatever you want with them. Because of what happened today, the little old man made up his mind. No matter what, he had to cut off all ties with the Tian family. He had to prevent the blind Tian family from using his life to act like a tyrant again. Tianke turned pale with fright. She could no longer care about anything else. She threw herself at Xianxia and fell to her knees in front of him. "We are of the same clan, you can't leave me in the lurch." "Same clan?" Xianxia snorted. "Ever since I left the Tian family, I have nothing to do with you. You still dare to use my name to swindle people? Do you really think I don't know anything? Back then, it was because we are of the same clan that I did not kill you all. Now you are still doing evil, how can I tolerate it?" Tianke finally understood what fear was. Her body went limp and she fell to the ground. Her lips curled into a bitter smile. "Yun Luofeng, you win." This young girl's talent was stronger than hers, and her background was even stronger than hers. How could she compare to her? Tianke closed her eyes, her eyelashes trembling. "I just want to keep my last bit of dignity." Looking at Tianke's determined expression, Yun Luofeng nodded. "All right, I will give you this last bit of dignity." Even though Tianke had wanted to kill her just now, she was not Mu Wuxuan, nor was she the Shao family. So, she was willing to leave her dignity. Tianke laughed bitterly. She looked at Tian Lin, who had collapsed on the ground, her eyes filled with sorrow. "Tian Lin, if I die, you will have no place in the Tian family. So, let's go together on the road to the Yellow Springs, okay?" "Sister." Tian Lin shuddered in fear. He shook his head desperately and said, "I don't want to die, sister, I really don't want to die." A hint of pain appeared in Tianke's eyes. At that moment she hated Tian Lin. If it weren't for him, she wouldn't have been implicated. But no matter what, Tian Lin was her younger brother and the only relative she had left in the Tian family. Now that he had to kill him with his own hands, how could he not be heartbroken? Who asked Tianlin's talent to be so poor? All these years, she had been protecting him. If she were to die, those people from the Tian family would definitely bully him. If that was the case, they might as well go to the Yellow Springs together. At least they could have a companion. "No!" Seeing Tianke shoot out a silver needle from her sleeve, Tian Lin's eyes widened and his face contorted in fear. His eyes were bloodshot. "Puchi!" The silver needle pierced into his throat, leaving a red dot on his throat. His body trembled slightly and he fell backwards. Tianke couldn't bear it anymore. She turned her head and placed the sword on her neck. She closed her eyes and exerted force in her hand. Blood spurted out from her throat and stained the ground red. Chapter 485. In the beginning, when she found out about Yun Luofeng's powerful background, Tianke's heart was filled with fear. But at the moment before her death, she calmed down. She was very clear about Yun Luofeng's methods. If she falls into the girl's hands, she will certainly suffer a fate worse than death. She might as well end her own life. It would be better than enduring the pain. "This, Miss Yun," Patriarch Ning glanced at Tianku, who had fallen to the ground and was unable to get up. Then he turned his gaze towards Yun Luofeng. His expression was a little awkward. He wanted to say something, but before he could say anything, a foot kicked him from behind. With a thud, he stumbled and knelt in front of Yun Luofeng. At this moment, The middle-aged man's face was full of embarrassment, but he did not dare to move. He was so ashamed that he wanted to find a hole to crawl into. Apologize. Master Ning coldly looked down at the middle-aged man who was kneeling on the ground and said coldly, Miss Yun, I have eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. I have offended you. Please forgive me. Yun Luofeng stared at him coldly. If Xiaobai was not the eldest daughter of Mount Spirit God and Xianxia had nothing to do with me, would you have recognized the wrong person? The girl's words made Master Ning's expression even more ashamed. Indeed, if it were not for these two relationships, he would rather die than bow his head. So, I will not accept your apology. Her words were very heartless and left no room for negotiation. Her domineering eyes were filled with coldness and her lazy posture was filled with an imposing aura. Miss Yun, if you are not willing to forgive me, you can beat me to your heart's content until your anger subsides. However, the Ning family is innocent. I hope you will not drag the Ning family into this. He could die, but the Ning family could not be destroyed. That was his choice. Yun Luofeng shook his head. This man was indeed a good family leader, but he had never fulfilled his responsibilities as a father. You still don't understand? She raised her brows and lowered her eyes to look at the middle-aged man kneeling in front of her. I don't accept your apology because I'm angry. I'm only doing this for Ning Exin. It's a pity that you still don't understand. Patriarch Ning's body trembled. He raised his head in surprise, not understanding what Yun Luofeng meant. All these years, you've made Ning Exin suffer so much. Now, you've slapped her in the face to force her to marry someone from the Tian family. I'm starting to wonder if she's really your daughter. The young girl's words were like a sharp thorn that pierced into the heart of the Ning family's master, causing his heart to bleed. He turned his head to look at the beautiful girl beside him and raised his hand to touch her flushed right cheek. But just as his fingers were about to touch her cheek, she subconsciously took a step back and avoided his hand. Clan Head Ning's heart tightened once again, causing him to gasp in pain. It's all my fault. I've really wronged you all these years. This was the first time Master Ning lowered his head to Ning Exin. In the past, he had always walked the path he had chosen and had never looked back at her. But when she heard her father's words, Ning Exin felt nothing but sadness in her heart. She felt nothing else. Perhaps all these years, her heart had really been hurt. What's the use of apologizing now? Do you think that by apologizing, you can make up for all these years? Ning Exin calmed her emotions and smiled calmly. If it wasn't for grandfather's protection all these years, perhaps you would have married me off to Ning Yuan long ago. Chapter 486. The head of the Ning family opened his mouth, wanting to defend himself, but he didn't know where to start. After all, what Ning Exin said was the truth. If it wasn't for the fact that the old man didn't agree to her marriage, perhaps Ning Exin would already be Ning Yuan's wife. Big brother Yun. Ning Exin no longer looked at the head of the Ning family. She turned to look at Yun Xianxia, and a smile that was even more beautiful than a flower blossomed on her beautiful face. I'll go back to the Yun family with you. Yun Xianxia smiled faintly. All right. The head of the Ning family saw that Ning Exin was treating him coldly, but was smiling like a flower when facing Yun Xianxia. His heart felt even more uncomfortable, and he was filled with regret. It was also at this moment that he completely understood that he had completely lost this daughter of his. Yun Luofeng's gaze turned towards the head of the Ning family and said coldly, For Ning Exin, I won't do anything to you. However, I will bring Ning Exin back to the Yun family and I will love her more than you do. No matter what, this Ning family head was Ning Exin's father. Furthermore, he was only interested in the family and did not do anything to harm the Yun family. Therefore, she would not harm him. If, just now, the Ning family head had listened to Tian Ku's words and summoned the elders to attack them, then she would never let him off so easily. Oh right. Ning Exin seemed to have thought of something, and anger surged in her clear eyes. Where is the fourth elder? I haven't even settled the score with him, yet he actually dared to attack Big Brother Yun. Elder Ning also suddenly came back to his senses. He had been hesitating before, as if he had missed something. Only now did he react after hearing Ning Exin's words. Fourth elder. Thinking of what this old fellow had done these past few days, His anger couldn't help but surge out, and killing intent appeared in his eyes. Men, drag the corpse on the ground out and bury it. Then, bring the fourth elder and Ning Yuan to see this old man. Elder Ning coldly ordered. This. Xianxia scratched his head in confusion. Can you tell me what happened first? Also, Yun girl, what is your relationship with the Ning family? Right now, he was completely at a loss. He had no idea what was going on. At that time, Lil White had only sent him a message, telling him to hurry to the Ning family, and saying that someone was bullying Yun Luofeng. Therefore, he immediately rushed over in anger, but he still didn't know what had happened. Grandfather Tian, Lin Ruabai smiled as he walked to Tianya's side. It's like this, the people from the Medicine City want to attack Master's family? What? World Edge flew into a rage. He slammed his palm down and instantly smashed a huge hole in the wall. What did you just say? The people of the Medicine City were going to attack the Yun family? How dare they do such a thing? This won't do, I'm going to the medical city to get even with them. Seeing that Tianya was about to turn around and leave, Lin Ruabai hastily grabbed his sleeve. She pursed her lips and said, Can you listen to me first? Tell me, what other atrocities have the medical city committed? Tell them all at once so I can settle the score with them. How preposterous! The people of the medical city were too audacious. They actually dared to attack Yun Luofeng. Were they tired of living? Lin Ruabai rolled his eyes. The people from the medical city almost hurt Yun Xianxia. It was Ning Xen who risked her life to save her. Immediately after, she recounted everything that had happened in the general's mansion, including how the fourth elder had gone to the medical pavilion to snatch Ning Xen back and heavily injured Yun Xianxia. As he listened, the little old man's face gradually darkened. The fourth elder of the Ning family is really stupid. Originally, this little girl Ning Xen could have suffered less, but he foolishly brought her back to the Ning family. You caused Yun Ruoyan to come all the way to the Ning family to save her life. Not only that, you even dared to block her at the door. I don't think the Ning family had any intention of saving Ning Xian at all. Instead, you are harming her. Chapter 487. Clan head Ning's expression became more and more ashamed. He would lower his head into the dust to avoid those mocking gazes. Oh right, what's the situation between the medical city and the Yun family? Tianya seemed to have thought of something and turned to Yun Luofeng. How did you guys get into a feud with the medical city? Even though this matter had caused a bloody storm back then, with Tianya's personality, he wouldn't care about these worldly affairs. As a result, he didn't know about the grudges between the two sides. Yun Luofeng looked at Yun Xianxia and said, Back then, my second uncle was at the peak of his fame. When the young city lord of the medical city passed by Long Yuan country, he heard the discussions of the commoners, claiming that my second uncle's talent was peerless. Even though Yun Xianxia's talent could not be compared to those people in those powers, in the eyes of the citizens of Long Yuan country, he was the most outstanding one. How could the young city lord of the medical city tolerate others being praised like this? As a result, this disaster was brought upon him. And then? Tianya asked curiously. Hearing this, Yun Luofeng paused for a moment before continuing. The young city lord of the medical city is just an empty shell. Therefore, my second uncle won. Because of this, the medical city could not endure this humiliation and sent experts to kill my second uncle. Fortunately, my second uncle managed to escape their pursuit and returned to the Yun family. Even so, he was still heavily injured and his strength was crippled. Furthermore, because he didn't manage to save him in time, his lower body was paralyzed. Thinking of the humiliation Yun Xianxia had suffered all these years, she couldn't help but clench her fists tightly. Killing intent surged from her domineering eyes. The old man's expression darkened bit by bit. He didn't say anything to disturb Yun Luofeng. Instead, he waited for her to continue. In order to prevent the medical city from attacking the Yun family, my second uncle did not hesitate to hide in a dark secret room for 10 years. 10 years without sunlight. Can you imagine how he managed to survive? Hearing Yun Luofeng's words, Ning Xian's heart suddenly ached. She subconsciously grabbed Yun Xianxia's arm, and anger gradually appeared in her clear eyes. How dare the medical city treat Yun Xianxia like this? They absolutely could not be forgiven. Girl, after 10 years, why did the medical city attack the Yun family again? The old man frowned and asked. Yun Luofeng swept a glance at him. That year, the medical city wanted to exterminate my Yun family. The people from the Doctors Association came out to stop them, but the condition was that my second uncle couldn't be alive. If my second uncle is still alive, the agreement between the Doctors Association and the medical city will be nullified. Immediately, the little old man's face darkened. The Doctors Association has also intervened? How could the little old man not understand the young girl's words? If the Doctors Association was truly fair, they wouldn't have acquiesced to the actions of the medical city towards Xianxia. Obviously, in the eyes of the Doctors Association, Xianxia was the one at fault. Who asked him to defeat the young city governor of the medicine city? In the end, the reason why he stood out was because the medical city's actions were too big. Because of this, they actually wanted to slaughter the entire Yun clan. In order to prevent others from gossiping, he had no choice but to stand out. Of course, the condition for the truce in the medical city was Yun Qingya's death. Not bad. Yun Luofeng raised his eyebrows. The Doctors Association is nothing more than this. They are so unreasonably protective of their own. Since they are so protective of the medical city, then one day I will destroy both of these powers and make them taste the pain my second uncle has suffered. A strong storm surged around the old man's body as he coldly laughed and said, "What a good medical city, what a good Doctors Association. How dare you do such a shameless thing?" On the arena, it was a fair duel to begin with. Such a person is not worthy of being a doctor because of his defeat. Chapter 488. After Elder Ning heard the little old man's words, he added, "Some time ago, I had already organized the people of the medical city. I still remember what Lu Yin of the medical city said at that time. He said that with Yun Qingya's status, he was not worthy of a fair duel with their young city lord. He should just stand motionless on the stage and take a beating." The little old man had thought that he was shameless enough, but he never thought that there would be someone who could be shameless to such a level. Therefore, the aura on his body uncontrollably surged out. With a boom, the entire hall turned into a pile of ruins under his power. "Little girl, don't worry, I will definitely seek justice for you." "No need." Yun Luofeng shook his head. "This is our Yun family's revenge. It's better to take revenge with our own hands. If you have time, I don't mind you going to the medical city to watch the show." The little old man was startled for a moment before he laughed out loud. "All right, before you make a move on the medical city, don't forget to inform me. If I have time, I will definitely go and watch from the side." As he was speaking, a servant hurriedly came in, cupped his fists, and said, "Reporting to the head of the family, I have brought the fourth elder and Ning Yuan. Let them in." Elder Ning waved his hand and said indifferently. The servant accepted the order and retreated. Not long after, the fourth elder and Ning Yuan were pushed over by a few guards. The fourth elder looked at the hall that had turned into a pile of ruins in astonishment. He didn't know what had happened to cause the Ning family to be destroyed. Then, he suddenly saw the indifferent elder Ning and hurriedly retracted his thoughts. With tears streaming down his face, he said, "Old master, you must uphold justice for me. This woman relied on the jade pendant you gave her to act like a tyrant in our Ning family. She even attacked and injured people. This is truly unforgivable." Elder Ning raised his chin slightly and smiled indifferently. "Don't be in a hurry to complain. I heard that you brought people to the medical pavilion and injured Yun Qingya?" The fourth elder's heart trembled. "Isn't this all because Yun Qingya is occupying Miss Ning Xian? I had no choice but to..." "No choice?" Elder Ning said coldly. "Do you know that because you had no choice, Xian's illness was almost delayed? If Xian died, can you bear the responsibility?" Fourth elder clenched his fists tightly and glared hatefully at Yun Luofeng. "At that time, I was also worried about Ning Xian's condition. Besides, the Ning family knows so many doctors. That was why I wanted to bring her back to the Ning family to receive the best treatment." Elder Ning sneered. "That's right, the Ning family does know a lot of doctors. Unfortunately, all of them were unable to cure my illness back then. If it wasn't for Yun Lass, I might have already passed away." In the beginning, Fourth Elder might have doubted Elder Ning's words. However, ever since Yun Luofeng had saved Ning Xian's life, he could not help but believe that this old man had truly recovered. However, he was very unwilling. He was unwilling to fail here. Patriarch, I have something to say. Ning Yuan stood up from the ground. His handsome face had a confident smile on it, but he couldn't help but glance at Ning Xian. He snorted and said, even without this woman, nothing will happen to Xian. I guess you guys still don't know, but when I was out a few days ago, I met a disciple of the Tian family. That disciple's name is Tian Lin, and he promised me that he would plead with godly Dr. Xianxia for me to save Xian. Could it be that Xianxia's medical skills are inferior to this Yun Luofeng's? Therefore, regardless of whether she is here or not, nothing will happen to Ning Xian. When he said this, Ning Yuan didn't notice at all that everyone was looking at him with strange gazes. Chapter 489. The little old man's gaze slowly turned to Ning Yuan, a mocking smile on his aged face. Youngsters these days, not only do they like to bully others, they also like to spout nonsense. Bulfing, who are you? Ning Yuan saw that the little old man dared to speak to him in such a manner. His handsome face was shrouded in anger. I'm sorry, the little old man squinted his eyes and said with a smile, I am the Xianxia that the Tian family used to bully others. At this moment, Ning Yuan's expression was very interesting. It was as if his face had been painted with dye, instantly changing to a different color. He bit his lips tightly, his body trembling slightly. No, impossible, you are Xianxia? This is impossible. Tian Lin had never told him that Xianxia would come to the Ning family. This old man must be an impostor. Tisk. Lin Ruabai glanced at Ning Yuan's expression of disbelief and smiled brightly. Ning Yuan, I really don't know if you are stupid or too trusting of others. That Tian Lin you speak of, he did not come to the Tian family to help you. He came here to ask for Ning Xian's hand in marriage. Boom. Like a thunderbolt from the clear sky, Ning Yuan, who had not yet recovered from the shock, was hit head-on, and his brain went blank. His good brother had not come to the Ning family to help him, but to marry Ning Xian? When did that guy have such thoughts about Ning Xian? Why did he not know about it? As for Tianxia's identity, Lin Ruabai paused. It was acknowledged by the Tian family. Oh, right, the Tian family member's body has been dragged out. I don't think it's too far away. Should I get someone to drag it back for you to see? Ning Yuan staggered and took a few steps back, his eyes filled with despair. The trump card he thought was his last resort turned out to be so fragile. Not only because of Tian Lin's betrayal, but also because of the little old man in front of him. Since the Ning family knows Xianxia, why didn't they let him out earlier? The old master wouldn't have suffered so much back then. Ning Yuan bit his lips tightly and asked the question in his heart. He really did not understand why Xianxia had not stepped forward to help the Ning family despite being friends with them. Could there be some other reason? From start to end, he never connected World's Edge and Yun Luofeng together. In his opinion, a person like Yun Luofeng didn't have the qualifications to befriend divine Dr. Xianxia. Unfortunately, things didn't go as he wished. Following that, the little old man's words immediately sent Ning Yuan straight into hell. His entire person stood rooted to the ground like a stone, without any movement or expression. I don't have much of a relationship with the Ning family. I've only come here because I heard that the Yun lass had been bullied. I'm still hoping that Yun lass will give me some pointers when she's in a good mood, so I can't ignore her matters. The implication was that his goal of coming here was Yun Luofeng, and it had nothing to do with anyone else. Didn't your Tian family look down on her identity? Since that was the case, he would make sure that these people who had looked down on her would never be able to reach up to her in the future. He had said those words on purpose. After all, he did not know what had happened before he came. He had only hurried over after hearing that it was related to Yun Luofeng. Chapter 490. It was obvious that the effect of his words was very obvious. When he heard the little old man's words, Elder Fourth's expression changed greatly and his breathing became uneven. Imagine this. A person whom you had thought to be inferior to you suddenly realized through other means that she is much more powerful than you in all aspects, to the point that you will never be able to surpass her. That feeling was as if a hand was squeezing his heart fiercely, making him feel so uncomfortable that he was about to suffocate. Luckily, this little girl was only an earth spirit. I'm a heavenly spirit after all. In terms of martial arts, this little girl is definitely no match for me. Elder Fourth's eyes darted back and forth at the thought of this. He then came up with a plan. Divine Dr. Xianxia, I never thought that Yun Luofeng would be acquainted with you, but I don't think that I've done anything wrong. Ning Xin is a member of the Ning family and I had brought her back out of concern. What wrong have I done? In an instant, everyone's gazes were focused on the fourth elder. They all thought that this old man had gone mad. Did he not understand Xianxia's words? Xianxia is clearly on Yun Luofeng's side and the old master stands on Yun Luofeng's side unconditionally. Yet he dares to refuse to admit his mistake. Oh! Xianxia raised the corners of his lips and smiled at Elder Fourth. What do you want then? Elder Fourth glanced sinisterly at Yun Luofeng. I want to challenge her. If I lose, I'll let her do whatever she wants to me. If I win, I want Ning Xin to marry my son and the Ning family will not punish us. Hee hee, Xianxia laughed disdainfully. Elder Ning, this elder of the Ning family is rather thick-skinned. He actually wants to challenge a 15-year-old girl? Doesn't he think that his request is embarrassing? Elder Fourth did not seem to hear Xianxia's mocking voice. His elderly eyes stared unblinkingly at Yun Luofeng. You don't dare to challenge me because you're afraid? Or could it be that my power is terrifying? So, General Yun's granddaughter is a coward who doesn't even have the courage to challenge me. This old man was obviously ready to throw caution to the wind. He knew that this was the only way for him to survive. Furthermore, he could help his son fulfill his long-cherished wish. However, when he said these words, he needed to face Elder Ning and Tian Ya's fierce gazes. Their gazes made him sweat uncontrollably and his aged face turned even paler. But he resisted the fear in his heart and said these shameless words. You've disgraced our Ning family. Elder Ning snorted coldly and said with an expressionless face, Yun lass, don't worry. I'll kill this old man right now. Don't let him cause trouble here. Seeing that Elder Ning's aura was getting stronger and stronger, the fourth elder became even more anxious. Yun Luofeng, your parents are the heroes of Long Yuan country, yet you are so useless. If your parents in heaven were to see this, they would definitely regret giving birth to a coward like you. The fourth elder clearly knew what kind of person Yun Luofeng was. However, he had no choice but to say such angry words. Only by doing so would he be able to infuriate the girl and force her to accept the competition. Indeed, after fourth elder mentioned Yun Yang and his wife, the girl's sinister and cold gaze gradually fell upon him. I don't accept not because I'm afraid of you. It's because, based on your abilities, you don't have the right to challenge me. But since you insist on doing this, why not fulfill your wish?